leaders to write books. Because it's not every day you speak. And not everybody will listen to you speak. But people can easily grab your books. So all year round, you are selling your books. People are reading, after they are reading, they may not know your voice, but your book is speaking to them. So that's your return of investment. Because someone reads the book, and if you have your how do they call it, your details at the back of your book, someone reads that book and is blessed, they can easily pick the number from there or an email to send you a thank you message. So I read your book and it changed my life. This is what happened. This is what happened. As a thought leader, when you see that, won't you feel happy? Except you do not feel it, you do not have emotions. You'll be happy. You'll be excited that, oh, your book is blessing people, your book is touching lives. Okay? You also need to position yourself as a strategic partner, not just a writer who delivers words. I don't know how other writers do, but I'm trying to be that kind of writer that after writing for you, if I can, I want to read your book launch. I don't want you to do it alone. If not for instance, maybe I will help you plan it. Of course, ain't no day now. But as long as you are able to sponsor my coming and going, you give me food, you give me hotel, your money I will use to. My client did it. My client, I wrote a book for him. That was in June. May. No, we started writing the book last year. We finished, we published, and it was like, no, you have to go. You have to go. I said, okay, sir, no problem. He said, bring like 5 people. I said, John. My father, my 2 cousins, my uncle, myself. All expense paid trip to Port Harcourt. The lodge was in food, everything. I wish that weekend never ended. Now, okay, so that's the end. You have to position yourself as a strategic partner, not just a writer who just writes and you throw their book at them, and then that's the end. Now, why I'm really using ghostwriter and all of that is because that's what I do. So I'm telling you this from my own perspective. So if you are a content writer, you need to also figure out how you can be a partner to your client. Okay? How can you be a partner to your client? Don't just write the content and you are done. Try to care. Even if you don't, some of them can complicate. Now, how to identify your niche as a writer? If you have a niche in this house, let me see your hand. Only one person. Okay, I think I've seen about 4 hands. Only. One more, you don't have niche. Okay, that's like 5 people, they have niche. I always see people talk about it, they're like, you are the niche. You don't have to niche down. You will die. Very good. You cannot do it all. Truly, what will people know you for exactly? What will stick? If they say one font, what will people know one font for? So you cannot just be everywhere. Today you are doing technical writing. Because we call you a writer, tomorrow creative writing, next tomorrow this, next tomorrow that. Truthfully, you may do all of this to find where you fit in. Okay? But you don't allow it to take so much time that at the end of the day, it makes it look like you are not productive. Because truly, you may want to test the waters. Are you good at technical writing? Are you good at script writing? As it stands now, I'm looking for who to teach me script writing. Because the money I'm seeing in that industry, I want to make money from that industry. But my fear is, because I don't even know anything about that part of writing, I can't hire anybody. I'm trying to be that person that I try not to want to do the jobs in my company. My own is to find the jobs and come and look for people that will do it. So if I at least knew a little about script writing, I would have hired the best script writers to do the job. But how then do I know that you've done a good job when I don't know script writing? So that's my challenge. I saw a lady, she's a scriptwriter. I watched some of the books she has written. And she was like 500K. That was last year. I looked my account. I looked myself. I said, yeah. So how to identify your niche as a writer? Now, not all writing skills earn the same income. I hope you know. As a ghostwriter, I will not make the same money you make as a content writer. They are different. Now, another thing is, it is the people involved too. You as a content writer can make 5,000, but there is someone on LinkedIn, SEO content writer, making like $50, like that. Big money. And it's not that it's just having the big money, he's actually offering value. But he has grown to the stage that he tells you it's $50,000 you pay. Okay? So when you focus on one niche, it helps you stand out. It helps you stand out and it helps it stick too. Is my time up? Okay. So to stand out, you need to specialize in one type of writing within your niche, or two, or three. And then you need to position yourself as a go-to expert for that problem. Then you use testimonials or portfolio to buttress your point. So people know that as a creative writer, she can do it. I've read her books. She's a beautiful storyteller. Give it to her. I hope you are following me. Okay. Now let me just quickly run through one of the most important topics here on my list. Pricing that pays. Pricing that pays. As writers, a lot of us just second guess. Just, I want to make 1 million this month. But you don't know how to make the 1 million this month. Let's start with 200,000. You want to make 200,000. What do you have to do to get 200,000 naira from your skill as a writer? So, I said here that you cannot hit a target you don't see. You need to know your target. It's not guesswork. You need to know your target. And then you strike. So you see what I have on my screen here. Price per project equals math follow. I wasn't a math student, but managed to do. Desired monthly income over number of projects you can handle in a month. Me now, I want to make 1 million, for instance, this month. As a book editor. Please look to the screen. Please can you see? Can I shift? Yes. Can you see? Thank you. Okay. So, assuming you want to make 1 million naira this month as a book editor, so you need to decide on your monthly goal, which is how much? 1 million naira. And then you need to know how many projects you can handle. I can choose to say I want to handle 10 books and 100,000. That's not feasible. I'm not the shape. Because these books have different volumes. So I can choose to say, okay, I want to handle like 4 books this month. And so that's where the math comes in. 1 million divided by 4 will give you 250,000. So your target is to meet, for every job, you need to make this and more. You are permitted to go across it, the 1 million, okay? But if you don't also meet it, it's fine. Some people like, I almost, it's also fine. You just need to keep adjusting. So 1 million divided by 4 will give you 250. That means if I have to edit a book for clients, I will tell them 300,000. So they'll price me to what? 250. That way I can still be within that range of 4 jobs a month. Or I can choose to do 5 jobs a month at 200,000. Because I'll not be able to do it alone, I send it out. Okay? But at the end of the day, the goal is to make what? 1 million. So if I can get 5 jobs that are paying me 200,000, I'll still make 1 million naira. So that's how you calculate it. That's how you calculate it. That target to have. This is how you calculate it. Because we win it. We win it. Assuming now, for instance, I want to have an event. Okay? I want to have an event. And I want to have like, sorry sir, how many of so assuming I want to have 200 people fill this hall, do you know that I need to reach over 10,000 people in you to be able to have 200 people fill this hall? So it's exactly the same math that applies here. So this is, I just had to change the price here, 500,000 as a content writer. So you apply the same formula. Just say you can handle 8 content writing projects in a month. So 500 divided by 8 is 2,500. So for all the projects you have to do, you need to get this or more to be able to reach your target of 500,000 naira. So whatever niche you are in, you do the same maths and you get your target. Then we also have, how many people do you need to talk to meet your income goal? See, some of us, we just, because you are a writer, when you post it online, you think you are done. People see it and they will pass. You actually need to do the talking. Or maybe you run ads to help your process. So, for instance, you are a content writer, your goal is to make this. So, if your conversion rate is 25%, meaning that if you talk to 4 people, 1 person will hire you. That means your conversion rate is 25%. This math mathing at all? Is it? Yes. If you talk to 4 people, out of 4 people, 1 person agrees to patronize you, that means that your conversion rate is what? 25%. You do the math. If you need 8 clients, you need 32 people. This is this clear. I hope I'm not making noise. So, conclusion. You are not just a writer, you are the CEO of your writing business. I am the CEO of my writing business. If I want it to work, I need to do the work myself. Now my friend said, you should quit. I said, no. So I divide my day into 2. From 9 o'clock to 5 o'clock. Except on days I have meeting, to 7 o'clock. I dedicate it to my law firm. From 8 o'clock to as a spirit leads the hustle space. That's how it is. So I am the CEO. And if I want to pay the people that I hired, I need to do the work. Nobody will do it for you. Even if you do not have an agency, you are just a standalone writer, you still need to do the work. The clients pay for value, not word count. You can have 100,000 words in a book, but only 20,000 makes sense. Am I telling the truth? So it's not just about the word count, but the content of what you have written. And of course, you need to know your niche, and you need to price with purpose. A lot of people want to get so many clients that they underprice themselves. We'll talk about this tomorrow. It is in our outline for tomorrow. So I'm going to explain that. So I'm giving you assignments because I'm coming back here tomorrow. I'll give you assignments. And when I'm back, I'll need a response. What is your value statement? In 1 or 2 sentences, how would you describe what you do and the results you deliver? I remember when we started, I asked the question, how much do you project yourself to make in the first year as a writer? So, based on your monthly income goal, you know, when you say you want to make 500,000 in a year, you need to break that down into different months, right? So that you know how much you make in a month to sum up to 500,000 in a year. So based on your monthly income and how many projects you can handle, what's your price per project? You came to learn, you came to a creative writing and readers bootcamp, and now we are in a math class. So I'd like to, let me look at everybody's face. bring cane. So thank you so much for listening to me, and I'm really much grateful. I'd like to entertain one or two questions before. Sorry to say, you look like all these very studious ones that will be like, when the teacher finishes, sorry, you know what's assignment?
My question is based on the pressure that comes with being a writer. I don't know if any other person can relate, but the part of the pressure I'm talking about is that which involves your writing, and you feel like, is this even worth the amount of money I'm getting? Like, that's how you feel about it. That's one. So how do you handle that kind of pressure? How do you balance it and tell yourself? It's not even about telling yourself. How do you convince yourself that what you're doing worth the amount you're getting, worth even much more than what you get? That's one. Two, when you have, okay, personally, I don't listen but not words. When you have a writing gig or a gig, and before the gig comes in, you're ecstatic, you're like, yes, let's money coming. But when the money, the power coming enters your account, it's just this news that lost in so much interest like before. So is it a priority problem, or is this pressure that is making this to happen? I don't think you get the pressure.
Do you have low self-esteem?
I don't think so.
When you talk about you reading what you've written and you're saying, is it what the amount and all of that? Life is in stages. Okay? There are some times that you get jobs that are not what the value offered. In many cases, I was like that because I really wanted feedbacks, which is also very important. And so, throw at me whatever you want to throw at me. I'll collect it, but I'm building something. Because when clients come to me, they will not ask, how much was this job that you did? They will only see the feedback, they will only see the good review that I've gotten, right? Now, that testimonials I'm getting, I've built my portfolio. It will give me the morale to charge higher. Now, when you say the money that you are given, don't forget that you have a say. You have a say. It's not that you just take it and you keep right and just take it. There will be a negotiation so that you can come and meet yourself in the middle ground. The money favors the client, the money favors you. If it is too high, you are free to say no.
As a starting writer, what do you lose it? You're just trying to, you're starting now. I mean, not like you was very rude. Yeah, I'm just starting.
You are just, see, let me also tell you another thing. When I was baking, I got to a point that my baking wasn't paying me. And that's when I started looking for other solutions. I wanted something I could do with my baking. And I started freelancing. So I freelanced to a point that my baking was no longer profitable. Like I was making so much money from writing that baking was just there. So I just sat down and I made the announcement. I'm no longer a baker. Okay? Yes, I know. You know, people, we have passion for things. But sometimes you need to also tell yourself the truth. If you are really struggling and you know your livelihood is dependent on this particular source of income, me, I'll tell you for free because it's something I've done. You can always look for something else to do, to pass time while you are trying to figure this out and to build. Because you will eat, right? So you need to also look for something else to do while you are figuring this out. When you are done figuring it out, you can continue. Your second question.
Okay, for the thing where before the money comes in, there's this serious enthusiasm for this job. But when the money and maybe the power payment comes in, that serious heat of ecstasy for this job
As one.
how do you feel that? Because for me, that essentially makes me to do that job better, to give me all the work. So how do you balance?
You have to think of your stomach sometimes. When you wait for, I don't know what ecstasy you are waiting for, that the fact that if you go broke, you will not be able to afford the basic needs of life. And you've gotten the money. If you do not deliver on that job, what does that mean to you? A fraud. Right? Irresponsible. A scammer. So that money alone should also be a driving force. As long as you've gotten someone's money, you need to deliver the service. And most times you cannot do it alone. That is why we have a place like Twmn. We have beautiful writers here. Seek advice, seek counsel. How can I do this one? How can I do it? I just got a job from a client. Oh, I'm just so confused. Writer's block. Can you help me? And you get opinions. Beautiful opinions from people. You see now, the inspiration will come back. Give it in and you are done.
My question is, you talked about sending your books, like when someone asks for your the books you've written, the previous books you've written, sending them out. How about the NDA?
No, when I mean sending book, I'm not going to send you the manuscript of a book I've written to my clients. And of course, I'm not going to let you know that a book I was wrote, no, this is it. Do you understand? Because I'm bounded. Okay? I'm bounded. I don't talk a lot about my, when I see you talk about my ghostwriting service, I'm advertising. And I'll tell you the story of maybe how I got the clients. But that's not about that. Because you don't see the book cover and all of those other details. Do you understand?
So, you want to send your previous works to your clients. What are you going to send? And is it something you've written for yourself? Or more than
Yes, I also advise that you have samples that you've written for yourself. Because it's an error to send even a part of a book you wrote to a client and you sign an NDA. Yes, I know that they will not know that doing something like that. They will not know, right? But if you were able to write such book for that client, then you can have samples for yourself that you can conveniently share to your clients. So you do not breach your contracts. It's not, they won't catch you, but it's the ethics. Okay? Any more questions? I think that was the last question.
Very hard to turn down my question. Okay, please. The first question is how do you overcome self-doubt and gain the confidence to share your passion-driven writing? Passion-driven writing with a wider audience, especially when transitioning from writing for personal fulfillment to publishing in the market. This question came from a place where I did science in school. So I started writing whenever I'm either sad or I'm spending a good time. So over time, I started writing stories out of my imagination. And when I spoke with someone, the person was like, that's fiction writing. So why not open a blog and start writing? So I told the person, my writers aren't good enough to be posted. He said, just try. So I started, and a few months ago I had to told myself, I feel it's not good enough, I feel it's not perfect, it's fine. I don't know. So I don't know, how do I overcome that fear?
So when you write these things, okay, after you start posting your write-ups, when you write them, who do you share them with?
You know what?
Just write it. Your writing isn't supposed to be hidden. You know, that's really what you do. You post it on your face.
No, not on Facebook. That's it. I don't even post it there. So I have a blog, but I just post it there.
So how do you drive traffic to that blog so people will read what you've written?
Well, I share it in the
here is that you fear criticism. So at least can people excuse me so I speak what I'm talking to. You don't want people to criticize your work. But truth be told, you will not be in the learning stage forever. You won't. I will just tell you to just do this. I mean, what's the worst that can happen? Who will beat you? It's your phone, Abby. I want you, but are you coming tomorrow? No, I haven't. I'd like to follow you on Facebook. I'd like you to copy one of your writers. In short, before we adjust our video, I'd like to see that post on Facebook. Post one of your writers on Facebook. And whenever, review the comments and then tell me if the people hate it or not. You are the one making a mole out of nothing. You are the one thinking that it's too bad. It's that. You just need to first believe in yourself. If you can share it to other people, you are sitting on a lot of money. You have blog. And it's not easy for her to drive to that blog and make money. You are saying you are scared. Don't be scared. Don't be scared. It's not going to be easy at first. But before you know it, now you said posting, nobody will ask you to do posting it by yourself. So just do it. In short, do it now. Fine. Do it now.
Okay, I wanted to just ask you a simple question.
Are you sure you do it?
I'll do it. Okay. So, last week, someone met me, one of the persons that was sharing the I was like, oh no, you've not written, what happened? I was like, no, I've written, but I don't just feel like posting. I was like, okay, I noticed you're just writing for fun. Can you monetize the writer? I said, no, I don't even know what to do. So, okay, let's speak with someone. So, my question is, what strategies and platforms do you recommend for effectively monetizing books? And how can authors maximize their earnings to today's publishing landscape?
Okay. So I love that question because I have a book coming out. I don't know if that can be displayed for me. Let me just use the opportunity first and invite you for you are sent to the email. Writer's Handout. Okay, this is not it. Writer's Handout 2.0. We had that last day. It was a very beautiful event. A gathering of writers like this. We had fun, we learned, we ate food, and a lot of things. And I'm also launching my debut novel, In the Arms of Grace, on that same day. So ticket is 2,000 naira only. And I don't mind, I can share the link across so you register. I'd really love to see you guys there. Okay? So, as someone who is also writing, I've seen that a lot of people write books, but they cannot monetize it. And it will be so heartbreaking if I write a book, publish it, hard copy, or paperback, and then I can't sell it. You know, because I'm in the business, when I ask for 100, how much is 1,000 copies? It's like 2.5 million, like 3.6 million. I'm like, now that's what money I will use. Now I will print book. This like, let's say maybe next month, because I have to print before the launch. Okay, but it's something I have to do. Because I'm not just looking at that book being here in Europe. I'm looking at sending it out, Lagos, Ghana, all the countries I can think of. Okay? But we also have soft copy for those who cannot get their hands on the hard copy. Amazon is one place. Amazon is one place. Yes, I remember I said I've not used Amazon for a long time. Because they blocked me. They suspended me permanently. I didn't do anything. Okay? But just a few days ago, they told me I've received 0.04 Canadian dollars. I thought you would block me. Where did I receive it from? So I shared it with someone who knows the platform, and she said they have unbanned me magically. So God is good, because I will use the platform now to publish my book. And she's going to guide me on the things I have to do to make sales on Amazon. Number two, you need to put yourself out there. A lot of people publishing my stories on WhatsApp, and the comments from there also spurred me up and helped me to overcome whatever thing I had going on there. So you can also look at the publishing of books on WhatsApp for free, and you post on Facebook too. Post on your social media platform. Turn your book into PDF. Post it on Seller. People buy it for free or get it for free. By the time you start building momentum, you can now add a fee to it. Buy it 1,000 naira, buy it 2,000 naira. When you buy it, you not just expect that it's magic. You need to push it, advertise it, so that people see it and then they buy it. So use Seller. You can even also use Self-Funnel. It's a new platform now. You post your ebook there. Push the link to people to read it for free. Okay? Then you can go from there. This, I do okay. I hope there's no question. Reserve it for tomorrow, please. Reserve it for tomorrow. So thank you so much once again.
If she knows you don't, no stop. I will please explain. That was a very, very impactful, powerful session with Miss Emelion. Well, the thing is, who are you writing for? Or what are you writing for? It's a we all need to ask ourselves. Most of us just go on Facebook and every time we're writing things, we might be writing to the very people that are not even following us. We might be writing to the people that will never see the post. So most of the time, so we don't get engagement on our socials is because the people that should see that particular writing are not there. Don't even feel that making sense, or just take that one like that. Take it like that. Once again, let's give her a round of applause. So, right about now, we're going to be taking a spoken word presentation by Jeremiah Priest. But before then, I want you to prepare yourselves in advance for the second session with Mr. Paul. So, just keep your mind at rest. And afterward, we're going to have the question and answer session. So while he's speaking, keep your questions ready since he's joining us online. So we don't get to run that time and grant time like his priorities away. So right about now, we will make welcome for a spoken word presentation. Mr. Jeremiah Priest.
Hi everybody. Hi Jeremiah. Okay, my name is Jeremiah Priest. Yes, you get that right. Priest. And I just have, I would not call it a small poem. I wrote it around last year. And okay, turn to the person where I said and tell the person listen to this poem. Okay, if you have somebody else, tell that person that you're giving good advice. Listen to this poem. Okay, so City Boys. So City Boys, they come in different flavors. Some for the ladies, some are just labels. The church City Boy is probably a pianist. Keeps something of an afro, stops playing if he doesn't hear the alto. There's a whole generation of kids spawned by alto singers and pianists. But that's the story for another poem. A poem for another story. I know city boys like I know names, and I know every city boy is a hustler. Not every hustler is a city boy. Some boys from the city, and the city will split them out. Because the city defines the boy, not the boy in the city. Environment is a trigger for the imagination, except for the city boy costume under lost. The mind was an eagle, falcon. And they were asking, like they asked me, bro, what are you on? I'm on the life of a city boy. The one with the G6 story that people say his money is too long to be legal. Something must be fishy. That it must be witchcraft, that he must be dressing at night. But in person, it's nice. Nice to a fault. You and I know how philanthropy can masquerade fraud, but hey, that's between him and his chief. But between you and me, haven't you seen how city boys are looked to the stereotype? How you get stopped, not for a crime, just because you look the type. But it's a city. Someone must take, something must give. The city go whine you, but no panic, no caving. The city go rock your world, but no shaking. And now the city boys are protesting. Because lately there's been too much sadness and too little sleep. You should come to my side and see how we live. How the city boys, how the city uses bright lights to cosplay the sun. Because all suns do is up and leave, like deadbeats in reverse. How the city boy competes with fears. The suns, the moon's luminescence, trickling down to earth. The city boy tries his best to be down to earth, but there is a flare in his solar plexus. His chakra is reaching for the stars, but he's stuck in the bar. On a wine date, the details to which he does not remember long enough to know how the wine tastes. But it's all for the ground, it's all for the appearances. And the city boy must keep appearances. The city boy must show up. The city boy must lock up, must lock in. And if his innocence dies before age throws the 666, and that is locking. The city boy is hardly trusting, largely lost him. Please, pardon my language. The city boy is a fuck boy. He knows the ladies don't really fuck about boys, so he stretches into man. But he's caught in transit. More fear than strength, more boy than a man. He's Icarus, bringing him an iron sun, trying to watch out for where the mountain starts from. The city boy is the eye of his mom. Her body bending into a wall of prayer every night, and she begs God to drink from. The city boy is all distinct. The city boy is not distinct. The city boy is not distinct. The city boy is not distinct, shaking in the cold, scared of the dark. The city boy will shoot his shot and he goes way off the mark. And something red blossoms in the distance, like sunset, reddening away the day. And this is how the city loves. This is how the city loves, and crushes and bodies stuck at hold of. The city boy is an upcoming artist, but behind his back, his friend's class is singing. The city boy is 2VI, or his mother tongue, speaks on with a British accent. Even now, the city boy is lost in his laptop screen, trying to understand why the city breaks everything that tries to hold it close, trying to understand why he does the same, trying to understand if him and the city are one and the same, trying to understand why every single day he shifts into a stereotype of Lagos, of Wheel, of Calabar. The city boy is right now trying to understand, still trying to understand. Okay, so okay, so since we are on money, I will do this last call that talks about being broke. Yeah, I was when I was very tough money. And I just started writing. By the way, this is my niche, this is poetry, this is my niche. She asked about niches. So, this is mine. Yeah, so in the mornings when I wake up, my bills rise in me. I wake to the sound of a debit alert, my account balance, an SOS, a 911. Not in need of police, or anything or anyone that can beg these bills, please, let them all. Please. But good luck trying to reason with your 4 points. Good luck trying to appeal to your NEPA bills. Not me. Me, I use a meter. But a meter is how you see your money go in real time. Sometimes I want to shift it to Joshua to make the lights stand still. Because it's a war out here. And we don't have lights to see shaking. Or glasses. I had glasses at like 65K. It costs that much to see, to stop my eyes from being a rebound checked. In that case, seeing is overrated anyway. Maybe you've seen names that take the beat of a profit, so you can't make profit of it. I'm out without light and I come home to see bill. I can't pay that much to see bill when I'm not in need of a big prophecy. I wish I could explain the subsidy to my credit card. I wish I could tell it to please retain the money you currently have. lived in my savings and been saving me frequently. And someone has the guts to now say, live within your means. I mean, bro, what does that even mean? I mean, boys in my streets, very street into street ends, just to make ends meet. I mean, how do you reason these school fees? How do you explain scale of preference to a one-out shoe? How do you tell Bill that men are giving me to pay off for I'm broke and my dad's been laid off? Yeah? How do you explain on some days you're 1 or 2? You don't. You just wake up to that family loan that wouldn't leave you alone, and then 1 month debit, 2 month debit, 3 month debit, 8 month debit. That's one credit. Standing out like a sun at the end of the sea. Then 8 more debits. Then that one credit. Then 8 more debits. That one credit. Did you see how the life of an adult goes in circles? Now, don't you just wish you were little?
One credit. That one credit will be just one thing though. Just cause like you expect your salary from 25th to 3rd. To be that one, that thing you borrowed somebody last month that they are repaying you. But it's debit. Okay? But you just wake up like this, breakfast. But debit alert is a breakfast. That's you're breaking from the fast of debit. So you are just waking up to the debit. In the afternoon you're debited. In your sleep you're debited. You don't know. You wake up and Zenith Bank is like you have been charged 75 naira service charge for SMS for the month. You just wake up to it. That was a very beautiful piece from Mr. Master Jeremiah. I don't think you are following enough. So maybe it's a chance to do that. Well, this thing about niche. There was a time I was very fast like that. and I was almost tempted to go into this what do they call it? This prototype of I am the niche. Right here, it's not easy. Today you are an MC. Another day you are a spoken word artist. Another day you are a research assistant. Then to come report you're a chef. So imagine that you have a catering contract for today, and still today you have to deliver. Let me put myself in the shoes of Miss Semediamede. That client is telling you, if you just like make 10 a.m. pass a bed 10 a.m. so that I can you'll be like, oh no, I'll be up by 9:55. 9:55, there is this thing to come to my head now. You don't go outside and stand, admire nature, hoping that inspiration will come right here. But then there is also something that comes with 9 minutes rush. If you're a creative and you don't do one that's at 10 minutes, you should begin to doubt yourself. Okay, right about now, we will be having the second speaker all the way from Rwanda. So, Mr. Paul Buddha is the founder of Paul Buddha Leadership Club. He is one of the founding members or one of the founding partners of the Writers Media Network. From the early days of, always meeting at the boardroom of, what's the place called? The once called e-library, now they call Leadership and Entrepreneurial Development Center. Mr. Paul Buddha, can you hear us? Welcome on board. We can't hear you yet.
so I can hear you, but can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you now. You can hear you now. You have the floor, sir. Or let's screen, whatever you have.
Okay, so I can start. That's what you're saying.
Yes.
Amazing, amazing, amazing. First off, I think I want to apologize greatly for the difficulty in transmission. I cannot be blamed for specific things such as tech. Right? I cannot be blamed for certain things such as tech. Tech is not my area. I don't think I'm not promising anybody that by being a leader, I will ensure that I do so well in one of them. That's not my area. So forgive me if you have issues with what you have meaning and all that. So I hope that everybody is fine. I hope that you're doing good. I'm kind of having an echo. So is it going to be possible to mute on this end so I can just flow?
We'll do that right away.
What I appreciate is amazing. She's been doing quite an amazing work. I think I followed through part of her session. So can we please applaud her? Celebrate her for the wonderful session that she had. I mean, that session was amazing. I was wondering why I was asked to teach after her. That's not supposed to happen. I'm supposed to speak first and then she speaks after. So my name is thank you so much for what you do. You bring in a lot of class, a lot of substance with what you teach, and I think it's going to be a big honor to finally get to meet with you again in Nigeria soonest. Again, number two, I think I want to make some levels of apologies. Number two, I want to apologize that I'm not able to be right where you guys are at the moment. It's because, of course, you guys know our boss. Our boss, I think, would have sent me to Rio since, but I'm tired of putting things on this end, and it's making it difficult to have to be in Rio until like October or so. So please forgive that you're having to be inconvenienced by streaming virtually. I wasn't really a virtual person, but technology has come to help me in some sense. And then, before I begin the session, I think I want to specifically say thank you to Scientific. You guys already know that I am a member of the House. I am part of the Latest Media Network, and I am sincerely grateful to our founder, Scientific Young, for the great things that he has done in my life personally and then through the platform of the Latest Media Network. So can we just please one more time applaud and appreciate Thank you so much, sir, for the trust. Not everybody is willing to give platforms like you do, but thank you for granting me the privilege of having to be on this platform today. I don't think that idea at all. So, people of God, people of Jesus, I have a very sensitive assignment with us for the next 20 minutes or so, and I'm going to begin to hear a lot from the people who is beginning to hear a lot from an almost wounded point of view. I'm coming from a very concerned point of view, and it's also as regards to the object of reading, the object of leading, and the object of creating impact in society. Three things that concern me for today and tomorrow's session. The first being reading as a culture. Number two, leading from a place of absolute finesse, a place of absolute substance, and then creating triple effect and kind of impact in your society where you find yourself in at the moment. These are the three things that will characterize everything that I'll be doing today and then tomorrow. But for today's session, I'm coming from a wounded point of view because I had some discussions with people just before I joined this call. And something I want to say as regards to leadership and reading, and that may be to start the session, and that is to say that it is difficult to lead in ignorance. I'll say that and pause a bit, and then maybe introduce you to what is annoying me, and then we get to the subject of matter of today. I'll say it again. It is difficult to lead from a place of ignorance. Leadership at its best is designed to be mechanized, to be enhanced by quality, substantial understanding and knowledge. This is what I'm going to be very serious note-taking part of this session. Leadership at its essence, leadership at its best is designed to give you ease when you comply to knowledge. I'll say it again in case somebody is trying to avoid what I'm saying. Leadership at its best, the results of leadership at its best define and determine if that leader is someone who is given to reading, given to knowledge, or given to skillful. I'm not like this originally. I'm usually not like this. I usually don't come to sessions with grievances and then hitting. It's not my nature. But sometimes it's necessary that for those of us like what Sarah Dumoni always says, some of us who are into the work of leadership largely are into the work of preparing. And so it's important that I bring this part and then leave the body with you tomorrow. I'll be a nice guy. But today, allow us to flow this thing deeply from a very strong standpoint. Leadership at its best, at its essence, in its glory, in its fullness, in its beauty, is supposed to give you ease only if you are a person given to knowledge. You see, there was a statement that we had, we were having a really cultural thing on campus some weeks back, and then we had this thing where a student stood up from a particular Eastern African country, and then made a statement and said, we should debate. This statement has been thriving for over 50 years, and does this statement still find relevance now? And this statement is something that all of you here are aware of. And it simply states that if you want to hide value from a black man, you must place that value inside or within the page of the book. And I asked you the question that was asked of me. Do you think 50 years after, this statement is still true? And I'm asking you this rhetorically so that you stay on it and you think before you give response to yourself. Or you give response to it. The first person who knows that response in its full entirety is you, the person who is listening to me right now. Is it true? Does it still hold weight? Does it still hold dogma? That if you want to hide value from a black man, from an African person, that you should place that value within the pages of the book. And the African man or the black man or the black race will never even go near it. And if you are right now listening to me in defiance to that statement, I want to ask you to look deep in your life. And then tell me, let me know what degree of increase you have obtained by reading books. When you find the book, what's your first disposition? These guys and their stories. Or what you are thinking now is, this is another opportunity to dig deep into the lessons of men. I was one time asked a question from my dad, and he said, how many times will something have to happen to you before you get to learn? My father asked this question like 10 years back. And I said to him, maybe it happens the first time. And my father said to me, and I will quote to you, absolutely, he said, you're not wise. I said, if it doesn't happen, why am I supposed to get that from the day? And he said to me that life has presented other lives packaged in books. Territories and leadership systems have provided the template of other leaders, other territories, and they have packaged them in books. Your first point of learning should be that of theirs, the story of theirs, the history of theirs. I was told one time last 2 weeks or so that a man who moves on a path to create impact but does not pay attention to history is one who in turn makes the same mistakes that we made in history. I'm starting like this, yes, I'm really sorry for starting like this, but if you look at youths that we have in today's society, you see how they handle leadership, you see how they handle responsibility, you see how they address specific things, and it gives you worries in your heart. Is someone or are people not learning? Are they not reading? You can tell that the answer to people's foolery, all right, is embedded in specific kinds of books. Too early, but let's hit it by there. Look at University of Rio right now, for instance. I'm sorry, it's none of my business, but it's my concern. Look at the University of Rio. You wake up 3-4 days to time. You say you want to design a CBT texture of examination templates, for instance. You do not have the facilities enough to acquire massive students enough to make that process a seamless process. You also do not have the factors like laptops enough to sit 1,000 people in a university that houses over 30,000 people. And you jump or you defraud in the name of poor innovation and say that you are going to be hosting an examination that is going to take place for over, at most, I think at least 10,000 students, when your facilities do not. And now we have consistently students are either fainting, are either losing life, or are either getting injured because somebody in the African space is absent. What's the best way to say this diplomatically? How do I say it? How do I say this diplomatically? How do I say it? Somebody is seated somewhere. And the thing that aches my heart is that this is somebody who is another person who over 40,000 students voted into office. Sitting at, don't worry, I'm not passionate about it. I serve as SP president where I stood. And in my work, believe me, I have a right to give somebody some backlash sometimes. And somebody goes on his status and begins to make specific words and makes a joke out of it that the students within your constituency or those that you had sworn to lead and serve are fainting, and all you can say is make a joke out of it. Hey, what an invitation. What an invitation. And there are many people who keep saying, why should we be having leadership trainings? What is all this with leadership books? Do you now see that the quality of people exposed to leadership offices are worse than those in quality of understanding? And because of that in view, my passion, Saitimo's passion, Mama Emidion's passion is so good to fix the issue. Look at people sit in offices for a year and do absolutely nothing because they are truly ignorant. Look at young creators design and package specific things in the bid to make money out of it, and you can tell there is ignorance marketing this thing. And let me say something. It is difficult to monetize ignorance. It is absolutely difficult. It is shameful to monetize ignorance. To tell people, I have this value. Come and buy this resource that I have given to you, for instance. And people show up and open the pages of these things that you are saying, or sit down and listen to you, for instance, and leave, and you are taking more from them than they took from you. Wealth is not built in ignorance. Impact, legacy is not built in ignorance. Leadership cannot thrive in ignorance. A young man sits guiding 40,000 young people. A body of people who have earned PhD degrees, PhDs, masters, sit. And the next thing they were having an inaugural lecture. The hall was almost half empty. And the students of that constituency were under sun, under rain. And I'm asking the question, what really is wrong with the quality of leaders that we have? And like myself, many of you have the answers to that. It's simply because there is something about not reading, not submitting yourself to knowledge that is embedded inside books to read. because of the affluence it gives you, the fluency in speech that it gives you, and you are willing to. You are close.
I'm sorry.
There were 10 virgins in the Bible. 10 virgins, 10 young people, 10 amazing people. Yet Bible categorized and said that we had 5 wise and 5 foolish. Somehow in the experience of the 10 people, 5 people gave themselves completely and submitted to unity. It is, let me explain something to you. There is a surface level that makes it only qualified to be 10 virgins. Surface level. It means, oh, you are aware, everyone's aware. I mean, there's clearly everyone's aware. But the thing that distinguishes 5 wise and 5 foolish is something resident in books, something resident in learning that they have not done. This is why you have successful youth and you have foolish ones. You have those who are not successful. And I'm not in any way insulting anybody. I'm just telling you this is the state of people's lives. And I asked someone last week and I said, in the space of 7-8 months now, down the line of the year, how many books have we read? Don't come to me and say you read 30. I'm not interested in the number. I'm only interested in finding out if you truly read. Did you truly go through the lessons and the stories of people's lives? Did you truly go through various leadership models and see how people adapted to certain things and how people address specific matters? And can I not see that now in the result that you bear? And I can tell that by opening or flipping through the pages of a book or through the page of someone's life, your life has become a better version than it currently is. Dreams are hidden in the pages of a book. Many of us found our purpose in the pages of people's lives, in the pages of people's books. Many of us found out what it would take to write a bestseller by reading a bestseller. So dreams are hidden inside of books. Potentials are opened when books are opened. People, I'll say that again. Dreams are hidden inside the pages of books. Now, potentials are opened when books are opened. Be uncomfortable with yourself when you wake up and a day passes and you don't have a book. And you don't have a lady friend of mine. Her name is Victoria Fakunde, and between the space of day for yesterday, she finished like 2 books, and she just told and said, "Oh, I finished 3 books now." I'm like, Jesus, how did that? And you see it in the results that she gets. The objective that you have read books is not in the rhetorics that you speak. It is in the content and quality and adjustment of your mindset that it affects the results that you produce in your life, in that of others, and in society that you currently find yourself in. I found my path by reading through the page of a book and a man's book. I found out my call and passion for African leadership by reading through Kwame Nkrumah's books, by reading through Pierre Lumumba's books, by reading through Thomas Sankara's books, by reading through the pages of great men and women. One of the most amazing writers I have begun to fall in love with, and that's because Etienne speaks about it a lot, and it's because, and his name is Chinua Achebe. You hear a lot of wisdom that the man produces. You hear counsels that he gives for youth. You hear the depth and substance in transformation. It is that man's material that quickened within Chimamanda Adichie her potential for writing books. And look, it was still because of Chinua Achebe, for instance, that Chimamanda began to diversify into African literature. Now she starts defending the African continent by her materials through the excellence that she exudes. You are at your current position right now because of a book you have decided to keep close, or a book you have decided to keep open. I'll say it again. You are currently where you are now because of a book you have accepted to be closed. Even the prophet said there was a book placed before him and he was not worthy enough to open it. And as long as that book was sealed, the destinies of men were sealed. But then another man came up and then opened the 7 seals. He opened the books. and possibilities became immeasurable for men. The things you are praying and asking God for, they are resident many times in books. When I was about to travel to Rwanda for the first time for studies in 2023, God had already told me 2 years back, you are going to have to travel. Part of your assignment was not, yes, your assignment started in you, but the assignment I'm calling you for is an assignment that will need you to have to go to several places and then get a lot of leadership. And I kept asking, okay, this, okay, that. And one of the things, one of the books I read was a book that was titled Secrets. In that book, it had stories of people who had to defy several possibilities in several things in their life to begin to embody several possibilities. They defied plenty things, many inconveniences, they defied many challenges. You could see people that had zero packaging in their background. I mean, absolutely zero advantages. Down the years, down the line, they have evolved into people who are global, reputable people. And all of them had one thing in common. I read in a book. I found it by studying. I submitted to mentorship. I learned by studying. I learned by this. All of them, that book houses is a book that is inventions. So that book when I read houses about 50 stories from people who made impact in their world. 50. I read through that material and saw 50 reasons why I can't quit. I read through that material and saw 50 reasons why I couldn't accept mediocrity. I read through that material and found out 50 reasons why I could tell myself, Paul, you can do it. When my assignment was complete, this God that we serve, he brought a man like Saitimo and the Rise Media Network that sponsored my traveling for the first time in my life to come to Rwanda. Oh, you wonder why it is that I am absolutely loyal. A man believed in me and saw possibilities in my future when no other person was willing to do so. I haven't even served him to the degree I would have served others. And yet still, he came through for me in the way transport. I only spoke with him about my challenge at the time. And bam! My first ever fees paid in this university, about $1,000 USD, came from the Rise Media Network. The fact that you're not coming for my mentor is a problem for me. A man submitted to books. He became transformed himself. He became a 51 reason, the 51st reason why I must continue on this path. Who knew that within me in 2023 resided a man who had the abilities or the potential for becoming the first Nigerian ever to serve as SUG president in this reputable university that houses 40 students from over 40 countries. A man saw a possibility to happen in 2 years' time and decided to invest in my becoming. If I hadn't come here, I would never ever have obtained this result. When I got the office, I told him, I'm only here because you made it possible. No other person. I told him. You feel that you have issues within gratitude. I can tell because you're not opening books to read the lives of men who became big by becoming people of gratitude. And so that's why it's easy for you to condone the negative tendencies that you have within you. You've forgotten that in the book called the Bible, there was a man that was written. It was called a foolish rich man. Why? He didn't know how to give honor. He didn't know how to be appreciated. There is something you do with your mindset and through reading materials that breaks habit from you and helps you to avoid certain mistakes. A man once said that a mistake repeated more than once is a decision. Then he said again that if that mistake is repeated more than twice, it is now a habit. And now we echo that if that mistake happens more than 3 times, it is a character. You allow the mistake of not reading a book to happen in January. You allow the mistake of not reading a book to continue in February. It means it became your decision to be unwise. You accepted the decision to become unwise. You made them, then you are running at August and you have not read a particular book. You haven't even finished a particular book. At this point, we need to conclude that you truly sign with your own hands that you have built a habit and that you are comfortable with the habit of not seeking for revelation through it. Nothing transforms a man. See, nothing makes you look at your daily wins and small thing like reading and seeing the successes that people have had, seeing the successes that people have built, the legacies, the conglomerates that people have built from small places. I've often said it before and I'll say it again. I have no business with anybody who made from the one you made. If you didn't fail, you don't have any factor in your life that shows that you failed at some point or that you started from the scratch or nothing. All you know that you started from the place of wealth and everything. I don't have any business to live on. My passion is drawn to people who, in the midst of nothing, fueled by hope, give themselves completely to principles that help them to evolve. Principles such as duty. Forgive me, I'm stressing this a lot. Forgive me. Look at the average account of faith youth. Look at the average youth in Nigeria. Look at the average youth in Africa. We are not even aware of our history as Africans. We are not even aware of the strength that we have within ourselves. Before I found my purpose, I read books crazily. Books like Why You Act the Way You Do. Books like Purpose Driven Life. Books like Spirit Controlled Temperament. Books like Mission Possible by Dr. Lam. I've read books. Yet now, a young person is saying, I want to find my strength. I want to find my potentials. I want to find out what God has called me to. And you haven't read the Bible. You haven't read the book. Your seriousness is attached to the books you read. There are many people who seek mentorship, and I ask them a couple of questions, and I can tell the person is a lazy person. They don't know how to books. When God grants you the ability to lead people from a multinational level, all that you see, it's not everything you say, I want to pray. The man in the Bible, Daniel, who went to God on specific matters, he didn't only go every time to say, God, give me this. He read through books. Bible defined Daniel as an avid reader. He said that Daniel is called by books. If somebody sits in the office housing 40,000 young people in Africa now, and it is showing that he or she is bankrupt of books that we read. In fact, I dare say his statement wasn't even refined English. It had a lot of broken things inside and poor spelling. And sensible youths in Akron State. Today I was in the office to read a special. 12. It pains me. I'm under pain, I'm under pressure, because we constantly will teach, we constantly will do our best to help people to teach, and then young people will say, all this interesting thing, is not too much. Are you not seeing that society is beckoning for leaders? Society is beckoning for leaders. Any man that made advances to help Africa become better was a man who was able to read. Look at Pierre Lumumba. And then Pierre Lumumba II of Ghana, and then of Kenya. Look at Thomas Sankara. Look at many of these men and veterans who went through reading. But do you know? Oh my goodness. These people. Sorry, forgive. Pastor is in the rest of me. Forgive. Let me ask you, at what age did you discover that Idi Amin of Uganda was not a terrorist? But people wrote and people propagated certain things and said that he ate human flesh, he imprisoned these people, he did this. It is through reading that I discovered that the man was not. All these guys, Gaddafi, only fought for the independence of Africa. That has fueled my passion and made me to become much more excellent in what I do living here. My ability to live and currently people are saying I'm the best that they have had in a couple of years. Why? That track record is handled, financed, enhanced by reading. I have learned to develop a strong culture for reading. I'll leave with you one point There are a number of things that really opens you up to. There are a number of awareness, a degree of awareness that really opens you up to as a young person. And it must open up you up to those things. In fact, it must be your desire to find those things when you read, when you go. Reading opens you to four deep, substantial kinds of awareness. Awarenesses that will break you. Mama, I don't know what I was saying that's correct. I said awarenesses, but it's not correct. I think what I mean to say is it opens you up to 4 levels of awareness. I think that's it. You know what I'm saying from my evidence space. So it opens you up to 4 levels of awareness. If you don't have this awareness, the best you will do is being a local champion. The best that you will be is somebody who celebrated just within your confines. But I'm saying to you impact that goes beyond self, impact that goes beyond people, impact that goes beyond territory, impact that outlives you. If you will enter into those kinds of impact through reading, you must be aware of these 4 things. The first of them, and my time is up already, so let me just give this one. The first thing, the first level of awareness it gives to you is that reading opens to the awareness that there is an equality of race when it comes to making impact. There is an equality of race when it comes to making impact. There is a kind of equality in race that you accept in your mind. And it makes you never to take your value for a second place. There are many people who believe they can do well as long as they are only residing in Nigeria or within Europe. There are many people who believe they can make impact only within the African sector. But excuse me, the kind of God that we serve has provided an equality of systems when it comes to race. It means that your value can be demanded. Your book, your creativity, your design that you have created, your food that you have made. I'm a lot of food. Hallelujah. I'm a lot of food. So your food that you cook can be demanded by many in and out of your country and of your nation and of your continent. It means that the book, well packaged, well written, well served, it can be read by those black, white, red, otherwise. I've spoken to many young people, many in my lifetime, and I see how when you talk about doing something outside Nigeria, outside Africa, their minds go to a defense mode that repels the idea. It's because you have not read and seen through books that there are men like Ben Carson who broke history. You have not read and seen through books that there are men like that were dark skinned, yet produced great inventions. Are you aware that Africa, as opposed to what we have been saying, was the seat of education? We were the people who led several civilizations into education. I hope you are aware. The Greeks came and learned from us. Several Roman empires came to Africa to learn. Let me ask you something. You see, when it comes to enlightenment, you only go to when you want to get enlightened, you go to a place that is the source of it. Are you aware that there's this writer, I can't remember his name, this writer, a Greek writer, Pythagoras, yes, not him alone, but another kind of writer. They came to Africa, searching to find it, and they left. Jesus himself came to Africa, find it, you see, and he left. Who else now? Many individuals came to Africa. So when an African sits and says that my value is only value enough in Africa, it tells me there's something wrong with your mind. It tells me that you are seriously behind. You truly have closed your eyes to a lot of pages of books. One of the things I really does for you is opens your mindset to possibilities. That I may be in you, I can be in one small room in you, I can be in one small corner in you, I may stay without refined values for whatever, but I am able to produce a kind of value that the solution building in his design, and those across the globe are searching for my value. The best of a man is in demand. The best of a man is in demand. That demand that is unlocked by a knowing, a conviction, a discernment that no, I'm not in those days, and it was happening with the white colony of people, God began to diversify. And then he launched out revival through the Apostle revival that was largely the black driven. And several beliefs of white and black began to break by God's interference into our system. And I'm asking you now, the book that you are writing, All Day Creative, do you know that people outside your continent are looking for it? The value that you have, the gifts that you have now, are you aware, people of God, people of God, are you aware that people are waiting for your substance? People are waiting for the value that you have. There's an equality system with God that grants you acceptance on every corner of this earth, as long as you have value to offer. If Madam Amen tells us now that she's consulting for specific brands outside of Nigeria, I will not be surprised. I will not be surprised. Why? You can look at it, you can look at her and see. She has produced a kind of value and a kind of substance that to say that it's only African in nature and for only Africans will be a disservice to the creator and the giver of that value. Can you look at yourself? Don't the least in your family, do the smallest impossibilities, but can you just begin to dream and see that if you just open books and read and look at the templates of other men, maybe, just maybe, you may find the solution that the world is looking for. Are you still worried and concerned as to, do you think that certain people let Nigerian man learn in Canada or learn in the US because of the beauty of the Lord? No. Within a few months of him staying in school, he was, sorry, I'm telling this story for a good cause. He didn't just stay in the short time in the US, in Canada. He was controlled by a particular professor of his. Why? Value. Whenever you have obtained value, even a blind man cannot refuse you. Value is cut across race, it cuts across cultures, it cuts across what's that thing now? Capabilities or incapabilities. Oh, I am disabled or not disabled. No, as long as you have value. My prayer has always been, Lord, take my mind to the point where I know and I accept two things. You can know that your value is required by kings, but you cannot need to accept it. Take me to the point where I know and I accept, I admit that my value is beyond Africa. My value is required by men from afar. Otherwise, the book of Isaiah 60 would have told a big lie. He said, kings from different continents, different places of the earth will come and will seek my brightness. He said, your sons shall come from afar. It means I will be a father to sons from different continents of the earth. This is what frames my belief system. A leader's mindset is primed by the quality of books he has read. As I close, a leader's mindset, his ideal objectives are refined by the quality of books that he has read. A leader's identity is summarized, it is crafted by the quality of materials he has read. His objective, however, must be that he has primed that ideology to the point where he first accepts that his value cannot be limited by race. That he is not just wanted in the south, he is needed in the north, in the west, and in the east. He is not only needed in the African continent or his country alone, but that he is needed by those from various other continents. The beauty of the man, I say like I said again, is seen in the demand that is placed on this man beyond cross-culture. I don't care what it is that you've been. I don't care what it is that you currently have. I don't care what results you need and you obtain. The thing standing between you right now and where you are supposed to be by design in God's plan, in God's work, is a book that you must submit your mind to. In all your reading, let it draw you to the awareness and the consciousness that this value that I have and I possess, the white man can pay for it. This value that I have and possess, those who are read in nature will need this value. I studied a particular man in 2014. His story since 2012. He stayed in one room. And from that one room, he kept saying, one day nations will seek after my value. he kept saying and he kept telling people. And now look at today, he's currently in New York. He has convened thousands of people in one space for a conference, a Corona conference. That's the same man who said those years he was almost to be arrested at the end of a crusade because there was something that this guy did not have. And by reading and through study and through growing, he is now a kind of leader that nations are desiring. That was the same man who during COVID, as tight as COVID restriction movement was, that was the man that was called by a particular royal family and asked to come and settle their family beef. And nobody meets a king and goes back empty. That's the same man who, despite staying in one room and kept professing and kept walking the path for growth and transformation, he was a man that was given 2 gold mines, 18.4, 12.6 acres of a gold mine. I don't care who you are, dearest young people. I don't care who you are right now. If you accept to grow through reading, if you accept to read materials, if you accept to implement what you read, if you accept to change your belief system and perspective, and accept the higher call, you will not be who you currently are. Your breakthrough will be as day and as night. Difficult for anyone to say this within you, because your reading abilities and your consistent pursuit for growth is constantly a beating place from you. You spoke one time and you spoke absolute rubbish, and then you spoke again, and when you were expecting that you will be speaking at the same level and plane that you spoke before, they see a new person and they say, what is this? Even in Nazareth, is it possible that great things can come out of Nazareth? Is it possible? You are responsible for the life that you get to live. You are responsible for those that you get to raise. You are responsible for those lives that are entrusted to your care. Read better, you will do better. Follow your mind better, you will do better. Thank you for the privilege of time. I apologize for taking us time and hopeful of what we learn in the coming weeks. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Mr. Paul.
We needed to hear while we plan this particular one. So now we're going to clap for Mr. Paul. So we can that distance is so far. Thank you very much for that thought-provoking session. I think it's still entering my bones. So remember I told you to write down your questions. If you have your questions, this is the time to ask so we answer them. I answered them before. So we just go straight to the point. Don't expect a question before you ask. Just ask the question.
What is question? Good afternoon, sir. How can you scrutinize the kind of book you are to read? Because I admit that there are many writers out there, but at the same time, there are contents they give out that are not. I'm not talking about sexual related, but there are knowledge they give out that is not the truth exactly. So how can one scrutinize the kind of book to read? Like the right book, of course, to read. Yeah.
Did you get the question, sir?
The question, if I got it rightly, I'm not as bright as Madam Emedion. So, but I think what I heard was knowing the right material to pick on to read, right?
Yes.
Am I right? Yes.
Yes, that's it. That's the question.
Okay. Just to answer that, I am grateful that somebody asked that. For one of time, I didn't have the time to dive into that. There are two things, and I want us to please listen to me very well. There are two things. There is knowledge, and there is structured knowledge. There is knowledge that at its best produces awareness. And 65% based on my last statistics, 65% of young people who pursue knowledge. This entails that they are reading everything and anything that comes into their grasp. Anything and everything that falls within your environment. But somebody who is pursuing true growth understands that growth moves only based on structure. A child grows from a child or a seedling into third class, from third class to adult, to teenager, to youth, from youth to adult, and the rest. By structure, it means if you give a child Gary to swallow, as because I love Gary, hallelujah, Jesus, I'm celebrating already. I'm hoping I will get to Nigeria very soon. I have missed our food, I have missed it. Sorry, back to the I was asked if you, if you give a child that is 2 years or 1 year, maybe let's say a child is 6 months, that should be at best taking part or something. You give that child Gary, like or some Gary, that's you fold it, you give the child swallow, for instance. At most, you have destroyed the child. Why? Because according to structure, the child is not supposed to have that kind of a thing within their system at the time. For somebody who wants to grow intentionally and somebody who wants to become a person who is a leader over others, you must understand that beyond just knowledge, there is a need for you to embrace structured knowledge. It means you dictate in this season of my life now where I'm finding and pursuing myself. I must only be around content and materials that helps me to obtain my goal. Structured knowledge has with it a design goal at the end. You will find a lot of motivational speakers around people who are knowledge lovers. But you will find substantial speakers like myself and Emilio who are substantial leaders based on the structure we are doing. Structured knowledge says, I am called to be an engineer. According to my dictate and the essence of my call, I will pursue every knowledge available around being an effective engineer. If you were to ask me anything as regards to leadership, and I were able to answer that now, I would apologize with pain in my heart that I can't answer a question without you. But if you were to give me a question on tech, what code do you imprint to use this and create the website? I will tell you, go back to where we came from. I will tell you, the Lord rebuke you, and rebuke you deeply. Because it's not my end. It will be careless of me, knowing that I've already wasted some time of my life to spend time on information that is not going to help me at the moment in achieving my goal at the end. So when you are selecting materials, be vision conscious. Be self-conscious. Because I know my tendency, my natural tendency is to tilt towards master kind of leadership. My natural tendency, if you leave me alone without personal development, I will use people. I will use people like this. I will use them and use them and use them. But because of the development, I cannot read that kind of book for 8 of power. It cannot be found by me. You know that you have a selfish tendency already, and you don't read a book that says never outshine the master. Why? Why is it your objective to read people who not outshine you? My joy and pride as a father should be that I have children who are doing better than I'm doing. So understand your temperament. Be self-aware when you are picking materials. Don't go and pick a book that will pick you towards the place we are trying to avoid. You know that you are avoiding equality now. You are avoiding the kind of rubbish life that you want to live. And yet still, you are picking books. Let me not say these books. But you are picking books in line with the things that will push your affinity for the opposite sex more. Who did you do this? Why do you go and read your own and pick poison and swallow it and want others to help you? So to pick materials, look at your vision, look at your path. This material, where does it take me to at the end? At the end of 3 months, where does it take me to? And after reading this material, how does it help me to become, how does it increase my efficiency as a person? If you are looking for help or materials to pick, go to anti-makeup. You are looking for materials to read on poetry, go to you're looking for materials to read on photography, go to The human being has a number of gates. Your ear gate, your eye gate, your mouth gate. Be careful to protect those gates. The thing is that when you allow unfiltered information in the name of knowledge, and I'm pursuing information to get into your mind, it spoils something about you. That thing now may take years to break away from. I know a girl who is struggling right now. She has a guy who is currently in her space. He's a good man. She knows he's a good man. But because she read in a particular book that to be a good woman for your man, you have to stress the man. The guy has left. A particular somebody wrote the book and said to be a good woman, you must stress your man. Against what is one woman that the Bible describes. And now she's trying to break it on the idea and it is still of the mother for help. Because of what she gave her mind to. The Lord help us in this person. Amen.
Amen. I will clap for. So I want to believe that you wanted to ask in between. I believe that for you in advance. So thank you very much, Mr. Paul. We're looking forward to having you again tomorrow. Thank you so much. Please, round of applause for Mr. Paul. So, let's take a break from all the plenty talk. Let's do something else before we talk again, actually. I'm not really ending the talk. But, I want to listen to a musical piece by Gambiel, if I pronounced that right. Is Gambiel. What's here? Well, I tried. He's not here. Gabriel. Why is he out? I cannot sing. Oh. I didn't quiet, but if I sing now, I'm not going to beat. So while we are waiting for him to come back, we're going to take something else, take on something else. Let me put this here. I'm not trying to be dramatic, just don't judge me yet. So we will be listening to a beautiful story. Beautifully crafted by a beautiful woman. And if your attention were to be paid for, I'm sure she will pay for it beautifully. But since you're giving us audience already, I would love you to applaud as we make welcome Miss Wampon Iwa for a storytelling session. Please applaud beautifully so that you will simulate the story beautifully.
Also known as terrible, prepared to grant his own words of wisdom. Such, for instance, was his famous perspective is all. The early morning seeker, his first economic client on that day, and a very special, indeed dedicated session, looked up and nodded in agreement. Papa Davina pointed, moved to that window, drove up the curtain, and looked through. It was somewhat gloomy mission. The days of the great prophets are gone. I am with you only as creations. Only the Almighty God. With you only as creations. Only the Almighty God, the inscrutable Allah, its presence itself. And who dares come into his presence, into the presence of the one and only? Impossible. But we can come into his creation, such as us. We are few. We are chosen. We labor to read his blood. lie. Accounts can only lead to revelation. Please pull the curtain apart completely. The seeker moved along with the other half. Daylight flooded the room. Papa D's voice pursued her. Yes, look out and tell me what you see. The seeker had come up on the opposite incline, which was total unrevealed squalor. On this face of the hill, however, what leapt instantly to her gaze was a far more electric jungle. The seeker turned and described her findings to the apostle. Now, I want you to bring your gaze closer up to the level at which we are in this room. Let your gaze rise upwards from that city where it festers. Bring it closer to our level. Between where you stand and that scene of frenzy, what else is there? The seeker did not hesitate. Garbage, piles of waste, just like the other routes. It was an obstacle trap threading my way here. Just mounds of the city's waste deposits. Davina seemed satisfied. Yes, a dung heap. You did come through it, but now here you are. And would you say that you are standing in a dung heap? The woman shook her head. Not in the least, Papa D. The apostle nodded, again seemingly satisfied. Close back the curtains, please. Good afternoon, everyone. You don't get that. Good afternoon, everyone.
Good afternoon.
Thank you. My name is Twmn, and I'm here to give a practical example of how storytelling can be used as a transformational tool in the society. Okay, so it's not my story. Yes. I just read an excerpt from Chronicles from the Land of the Happiest People on Earth. That's the title of the text. Chronicles from the Land of the Happiest People on Earth. And it's written by Wole Soyinka. So I would love to begin this way. As writers, we know that we don't write in space. Writers don't write in a vacuum. They pick things from the society and they bring it to their text. Mr. Ponoda made reference to late Professor Chinua Achebe, who is African, who is the father of African literature. He was known to write about colonialism and its effects, and he portrayed this using his storyline and the characters. The popular Chimamanda Adichie is also a writer who writes about women's oppression and marginalization. So we see that writers don't write in space. They bring things from the society and then they bring it to their text. And Wole Soyinka is among these writers. So now this book, Chronicles from the Land of the Happiest People on Earth, satirizes the political sphere and Nigeria as a whole. Right? In this book, Wole Soyinka looks at the political system in the country, how it fails and how everything is happening. And then I would like to say that the mockery starts from the title, Chronicles from the Land of the Happiest People on Earth. So if someone should approach you and tell you that Nigeria is the happiest place on earth with the happiest people, you would laugh because it's indeed a mockery. And instance in this text is where workers are yet to be paid their 10-month salary. Workers are owed their 10-month salary, and then we have a lot of things happening. Now we see how Wole Soyinka paints a picture of everything that is happening in our society today, the contemporary society. And and he does this through storytelling. Remember, our theme is transformation through storytelling. Now, in this text also, there is a character that is called Dr. Menka. Dr. Menka has a hospital in the text. And we see how cases are being reported, several cases of child rape, child sodomy, mutilation. And in fact, a 3-year-old girl is raped today by her father and brother in his hospital. All of this still paints a picture of what goes on in the society today. Now, in this story also, there is a group of 4 men. They are called a gang of 4, who travel abroad, study, and then return to bring a change to Nigeria to positively contribute to the society. But on their return, they see that the moral decadence is high to the place that it cannot be salvaged. And this is heightened when Dr. Menka is approaching his hospital by 3 men. Now, these men belong to an organization that sell human parts, human body parts, right? They look at what goes on, maybe car accidents, or terror attacks, or stuff like that, and then they harvest human body parts to sell. So since Dr. Menka is a doctor and a surgeon, they approach him that we should please partner with them. And this really makes him discouraged. So all of these instances in the text, chronicles from the land of the happiest people on earth, shows what goes on in our society today, in Nigeria especially. And Bootcamp does this through storytelling. Now, in this text, Shoika also brings to the fore 2 dubious characters to satirize the political and religious sectors. In the political sphere, we see the Prime Minister, Sarkodie, who calls himself the people's steward, that is someone who serves the people. But he is not a servant, a true servant, like he depicts himself to be. He engages in corruption, thuggery, bribery, and everything just to get to the top and then remain in his position. Yet he calls himself the people's steward. Now, in the religious sector, there is a character, Papa Dabina, who is seen as a religious leader in the text. But before now, he engages in Yahoo, fraudulent activities, and everything negative. And then he travels around West Africa. Then on his return to Nigeria, he rebrands himself as a religious leader. So the text describes him as a skillful, creative, spiritual trafficker who uses prophecy to extort money from people, especially politicians. Now, in this same text, Chronicles, remember, we're talking about storytelling as a transformational tool. In this text also, the YOY and Yeomen are ceremonies where awards are given to people who have positively contributed to the society. And then we see how politicians rally around looking for how to receive the award even when they are not befitting. So because of this, they do terrible things. And then there is a video that showed about a governor who eats amala with his bare hands in a roadside restaurant, so that it will be tagged that he is humble. Another features a senator ushering an aged woman into his vehicle, and then he tags it lending a helping hand, so as to show that he is humble, he's down to earth, and he helps people, just so as to receive the award. Now, all of these things are also seen in the society of today. And it's relatable, just like Mr. Poluda has said in the second session, that there are some leaders that are not knowledgeable, but are given the position. Now, all of them in this text, it is depicted in the text, Chronicles from the land of the happiest people on earth. And one will ask, what is Bootcamp trying to do with all of these instances in this novel?
Now, he's trying to lament, if I should use the word, lament the ills of what is going on in our society today. And also to call for a transformation, that there should be a change. There is not how you pick up this book, like the hard copy or the soft copy, anyone to read, that you won't realize the state of the nation and the need for change. That is what Kolesho does. And then we as writers are also linked with the same responsibility to, yes, I know that literature is meant to entertain, instruct, but we are also meant to write for a change. Our stories are meant to tell people what is going on and also to call for a transformation. And I would like to add that it must not necessarily be the novel form. It can be in drama or poetry, depending on what you can write. So, and while we are doing this, telling our stories, narrating our experience in the society, I would love to draw our attention that we should do it constructively so as not to attract unnecessary attacks to our attention. Right? We can do it constructively, but making sure that our texts, our articles, or whatever stories we are trying to tell will call for a transformation in our society today. And then when we do this, we will not just be passive. No, we will not behave like people who are passive in the society. No. We will also be activists because we are writing to call for change. And I believe that our writings will not just be limited to our local space. It can be read by anyone around the world. And it will definitely bring a transformation or change in our society today. Thank you so much.
Well, first, we will have to clap for her. I didn't hear you guys clap, I was just here. They did not hear it. What happened? Oh, so loud enough. I'm sorry, but I'm the one digging his feet for you. What stood out for you in the illustration?
Okay, what stood out for me was how, her point, the point she makes that writers should try to depict what is going on in the society. And to me, that means that, so that even in the future, someone reading the book will know that something like this happened.
That's beautiful. Now, the platform, so you say about the longevity of writing, where you don't just write about, even when you're writing fictitious books, am I correct? Fictitious, not fictitious. Fictitious books, you are not just, okay, they say we should be creative, so you're not being creative, you're just writing out of space. No, sometimes, even in the midst of doing that, infuse reality. Put Nigeria into writing. Bring it back home. So, even when, there is something I like about Caribbean authors. There is something about Caribbean authors. No matter what you do, in all you do, in fact, in all you do as a reader, without being told the origin of a Caribbean author, you would know that this person is either a Caribbean author or someone who has resided in the Caribbean shores. So, what Caribbean authors do is, no matter what, there is always a search for home. there is always a search for home. So in all their writing, you'll always find that someone is, somehow there'll be a depiction that someone was lost. Somehow, someone was lost. So when Caribbean authors do this thing, you'll just be like, do they use to plan it? No. They're writing from a place of experience, a place of a desire to know whom. We have this friend of ours, Roland Watson Grant. He is Jamaican. So we met him during the Igbo Arts and Book Festival. That was 2022 or 2023. 2023. 2023. 22. But then it was between 2022 because I think the 2023 edition was something was entirely, and there was no 2024 edition. Maybe though, like what I'm trying to drive at is that that's where we met him. He's a writer, so he was easy to get along with because he is black, but doesn't know which race. No, at some point he was telling us, I feel I have a link with the Yorubas in Nigeria. So he even told us that he might come home and start tracing his roots. So there is something about these people. There is always a search for home. So they're always looking for a home. They're always looking for, where am I from? Because the people occupying that particular territory are Africans that were either taken away by the slave trade, or Africans that lost their identity due to one thing or the other. So in Caribbean, what's it called? Genealogy. There's always a point where there is no answer. There's always a point where you cannot say, you know that the genealogy of Jesus, where it was traced. I don't do that one for my one. It will hang somewhere. So always try to infuse reality into your storytelling. The person that should hear that the person that loves science fiction so much. But I also want to believe that in the midst of the science fiction, there is reality. Because I know the African magic has tired me. Not because it will naturally become tiring, but what's with the excessive meow and the people that are making waves in Hollywood now are those people making the YouTube movies. They so-called people say YouTube movies. I don't know YouTube movies. What's your business? But if I ever find myself trying to watch a Nigerian movie, I think maybe YouTube or maybe one of these blockbuster movies that are now on Netflix. Nothing got me wrong. African magic people. Please want to reduce my IQ. There are some movie mistakes that should be out. Sorry, I'm taking us, I'm digressing a little, but as creatives, you should learn to think beyond just writing it the way it is. When she was saying something about, the day I tried to learn about script writing, it was like, this alone, you want to do script writing, you will do it as a full-time script writer. Like, there are no many rooms for you to do script writing as you want to do. Because what you want to do is to depict, maybe the color of the wall in that house has to, maybe if you want to pay attention, look, the house was painted white. Then there is something else in that house that you want to complement that white color because you are going to mention it in your script. So everything, not something I say the house was painted white and when it's time to act the movie, the house is pink. Do you get what I'm saying? So there is something about expertise that's some part of Hollywood. I know they call it as a movie, but I still feel we could do better. Because already people are doing better. And one of our major challenges in Nigeria is that we don't want to collaborate. Watch an American movie. You will see different, you will see Sony Studio, you will see Disney, like they will introduce this one. Before the movie even starts, you will see like 5 different companies coming together to produce one movie. And it makes it like, wow, that movie was mad. Nigerian movie, you see, Ekwenyong and Sons Enterprise presents. And that's the end. and they end up doing something almost meaningless. But we're not good enough our grandparents to watch it, so at least they have something they can relate with. But it's becoming a cliche. That's what I'm driving at. It's becoming a cliche. Let's do better. As writers, as readers, as creatives. Most people don't. In fact, the very first step to writing is reading. To be able to write poetry, you need to understand what poetry is. You need to learn, like you need to love a particular piece of poetry too. Poetry is that one niche in writing you don't just want to enter anyhow. The worst is if you like review. You will send your work to 5 different people for review, for read, and they will critique the work and you'll be like, what did I offend you? But honestly, they are being truthful. Okay? They are being truthful. In your mind, I don't write, I don't cook. When I'm on top, I ate and I cleaned the plates, send it for review. And you will wish you didn't carry your pen that day. So let's pay more attention to expertise. Let's also pay attention to what the first speaker said, packaging. If you want to monetize your writing, of course. I know what Esther I was going to remind you today is that day. Remember when we were at Mwaipa, one of those writing sessions. You're like, some people try to make it as if, sorry, I'm going to make it small. Don't try to make it as if, when you're writing, but they pay, the money is becoming the focus, blah, blah, blah. That's what I'll remind you. Today is that day. You were there calling 500K. See, Mr. Paul said something, I don't know if you guys listen. If you don't maximize your potential, God said for best for you. What's with the, I'm okay where I am, I'm not doing so bad. I think you're doing bad though. You're doing bad. If you're not maximizing your full potential, that is bad enough. So, when we want to maximize our potential as writers, let's try to globalize it. Having said that, it's time to maximize our potentials. So we're going to play a very little game. A very simple something. I say game, everybody. Don't worry, it's not something you can all pull off. This particular bit, I don't go fall inside. I will not fall inside. So I'm just thinking of which angle to start from. I'm thinking of who give us the first. So we're going to create a story together, a short story together. Now, that's all. I need a theme. You know, what's our theme? Our central theme is transformation through storytelling, right? So we are going to transform a story now through storytelling. We are transforming a story through storytelling. I need an idea. I don't want us to do that primary school might be your last holiday. No. So I need a theme. So be thinking of themes, and I just pass the mic to give us a theme, and I'll pass the mic to who will give us the first sentence. So it's going to be a very short story. I don't know who will be our secretary for today. Who is it? It's not here. Which means we will have to record. We'll have to record the session so that we can have all the lines intact. I don't want half-baked something. So, Mr. Wampo is a theme we can work with. Okay, please clap for us. Yeah, for a story.
It's going to be very weird.
Red.
Weird, like a weird thing.
Anything is okay, please. Something that can flow properly.
Alright, so I'm thinking of cute people like that. Like horror kind of thing. No.
Please let us go horror. I know some people are waiting for it. Some people are waiting for it, like to kill me before I do that. So let's go something. Fate of It's a story build, so we're going to build a story. And I'm still waiting for the second mic. I don't mind what I'm doing. Who has the second mic in this? Oh, you come on now.
Actually, not even.
It ain't here. The fate of a man. Well, I don't want to give people expo. I want to give small expo. But no. That's the thing. Man as man. To human being. That's the expo. Since you asked for it. Mama says, supposed to be the best line of the story. Sorry.
What's the story about?
I'm so sorry.
Fate of a man, right?
Yes. Not just the first line, like the first few lines. Then the story starts. Then before it starts.
Praise the Lord. Hallelujah. The theme is the fate of a man, right?
Yes, the fate of a man. What's it, woman?
There was a man, his name was Edward. He knew his purpose. He had life, all set the way he wanted it to go. But unfortunately for him, something bad happened. Someone else gets to choose that bad thing that happened.
In your wrong. So something bad happened.
Something bad happened. So it was on the same morning. The sun was bright. The day was rosy and the environment was serene. So he took a journey to the river where he usually takes his bath. And he jumped gently into the river and he got missing for about a week. And the villagers were searching for him. Miraculously, he came out of that river with 3 words. With 3 words.
With 3 words.
People are wicked though. I want to know the 3 words now. Why the 3 words?
Built from
With 3 words.
God. I am not wanting to find out what was wrong. I am not wanting to do this purpose thing. I do not want to know what purpose is anymore. I found something even greater.
What's fascinating? Let's just see what he found. What do you think he found? Anybody wants to bail him? Who wants to bail him? She said the man found something. What did he find? Something greater. What was something greater that he found? Remember he went missing for 1 week, came back, and he's done searching for because he has found something greater. What did he find?
Because they found something greater, something that lies not in what people say, something that lies not in what they have written down, but something that he has discovered was given him. The same thing that kept him safe for the world of the world.
Let's call that a hope. He was lost in water for 1 week, came out of the water I'm not searching for a purpose because I found something better. And what he found is hope. Something a very hectic life for one week. Now the story continues.
So the man decided to go around and tell people that they don't need to live life trying to be like other people. That inside himself have something greater. It's not like he has found something other people have found themselves. But people around, the doctor she was talking, because it was something else, because everybody had a way of doing things, and he was not trying to say that, well, we should not do things that we should do things in our own way. And then he came across as he asked the city or give whatever it was for, and back to his problems.
Now, an entirely new story has begun. He had to leave the village and go to an entirely new place. Now life begins there too. He has left the village. After all these things, he was now an outcast because people did not believe him. People said he was blaspheming. People said a lot of things about him, and he was banished. So, in the course of banishment, he had to relocate. Now he has relocated. That means new life has begun.
The reason why I played the mic was talk about the three things, after the 1 week in the water. For me, what we found in the water was
You have to continue the story.
We have to continue the story, right?
Yes. Where we are now.
So now he has relocated.
where
Where have you relocated?
You not tell us where we relocated to.
Now you will tell us.
Okay, I'm going to
Yes, so you are creating a story, so tell us. What
okay, US.
Okay.
To start a new life, after some, find some, making some decision, and then focus on the combination to work with fun. Quite a good thing related to the US.
Wow.
You don't read US. We are already in the US. Anything about the US, please continue our story for us. Thank you. So, you want to go? Oh. Yes. Yes.
Okay, after spending months, endless questions, searching for you, it was
Sorry, I hope you don't get mad at me. It was already managed. It was already managed.
started wondering while he was wandering from one into another village, not a neighboring village, just that village, away from his own village. He met a woman. She was a seer. She spoke a prophecy.
I like how you are ending this. Okay, few prophets. You don't meet you, man. You don't tell them prophecy. I beg waiting and tell her.
Just like the people that are sent on journeys, not the story of Abraham that was sent by God to the land, not also a story of Cain who was somewhat a place of destiny. And since the woman that is known for promises to be coming true, some words were spoken to him, but he would not believe because these words do not align with his reality. But he took the words, kept wondering, kept searching. At some point, nemesis of life will still catch up with him, but he will survive. Since in life, as far as there is life, there is hope. He kept on going, and he met a man. This is where the promises are started coming true. The man was a welder, so that was the place he slept. The following morning, the man came in, and he was able to relate what was going on in his life to the man. And the man, with his soft heart, see another man who is determined to make it in life. He sought to listen to him. The story will continue.
Ambassador John.
Okay, we have a dot here. We are building together.
Yeah.
Now you put this thing cause it's trouble.
During their dialogue, so there were times they shared stories, and one of those days he had to, write out the prophecy, unveil his prophecy to the old man. So I think according to the words, there shall come a time you will not do naturally life. There shall come a time where you may not give this image people will admire, but there's something you are going to experience in this life, more like an outflow, more like pouring wine into a cup and drinking water. So you carry this new wine, fresh, big, natural, face grade that will pour out to people. So it will look like a cup that is filled and it keeps pouring, and there's still a supply, and it keeps pouring, and there's still more supply, and it keeps pouring. So there will be a move, a supernatural move within you. So people will be able to witness something beyond the natural, but you may not do natural in life. Plot twist.
You don't come up with natural, and I'm going to put supernatural. This story will end you.
How did you know this? How did you? This is the same thing I was told by that woman when I was lost in the water. And it did not make sense to me because I felt like it had to do with ritual. Because, growing up in my culture as well, I've heard that rituals involve blood, wine. It's scary. Because it didn't make sense. The old man replied, I had a dream last night, and this is what I saw. How would this thing be? How, when we would walk into this? The old man replied, that is the reason you've been going on and on. The different spaces you've been, the different procedure you've gone through was to prune and make you into that person. And that is why you've been deported. That is why you came back to this town. And so I was supposed to move out from here, but Isia came to me a few months back and told me not to move, that a strange man will come here and meet me. In her words, she said, I will be the one to disciple you, to train you, to put you through the process that will put you back on track. Yes, you had made a mistake by disbelieving in your purpose, by trusting that of what you saw of what the woman told you in the water. But here is it. Our training begins. You're going to start reading. I have tons of books for you. And I'll take you through into a library, a very old library, and you wonder, could there be a library in a welding shop? What is a library doing in a welding shop? It was really amazing. And then they started reading, started going through the classes, morning and night. The good shepherd, by this time that's what he referred, he started calling him the good shepherd, began to, he gave him a rule. You are to read 2 books in 7 days. You have to read 2 books in every 7 days, and that was in the first phase. So the first phase lasted for 3 months, and the second phase, he got used to the procedure, and so it was now 3 days, 3 books in 7 days, and he kept going. Very continue.
We don't reach how many years? No. I thought we just started this thing. No, don't worry. Sorry. This is where I'm coming to.
There.
Yes, here. Whenever I bring it back to you, we have this story. Marky. Good shepherd don't die. You can tell disciples, make him take over. He say no. I beg, why don't we take over?
Okay, so the man, so he continued. Oh, he said he don't want to take over. Yes, he refused, and because of that, another person came into the picture, and then it was like a discussion. They had a conversation, talked about many things, and he gained the trust of a stranger. Before he knew it, before he knew what was happening, he was shot dead. The story ended.
Sorry, who will fulfill the prophecy? After this is magical, we are burning sorry into magical realism, right? So let's continue. Goody. You want us of this thing? You want to before we
You were shot dead.
don't worry. It's magical realism, so feel free to add an actor like
old woman gave him the prophecy. She gave him a speech. And she told him that when the time comes for him to do this, he will know. He tried to use his seed when he was wealthy. He thought that was his seed, but it wasn't right. But he kept it on him. He even forgot it. So many years had passed before the good shepherd, right, died. So many years passed, and he even forgot about this. Now, while he was always working, when he was always at work, he had this apron that he always kept on him. He was short with his apron, with his work apron. In that apron, there was a seed. The woman told him that he's the key. But he thought, when he was excelling and doing marvelous, he thought that was, but what he did not know that he was the key. And the key was unlocked with that seed. When he met that man, woman, whose destiny was cut short, and was hanging around in the outside, waiting for the key. He put the key in her hands, and together,
the result is I need to laugh. Goody. Anybody report Goody? So you tell your story for us.
What she mentioned is that she met his ancestors in the afterlife. And the ancestors sat him down and gave him a wise advice. You have the key in your pocket of your apple, the key to take you back to the world. So when he reached out into his pocket and met with the young man, they exchanged, or the shook hands, and he gave her. That's how they got back to the afterlife. And we have together. Thank you very much.
Please round of applause for Now, this was roughly a 20-minute story. So we've been telling stories in the past 20 minutes. You all say you're not crazy. Now go back for yourselves again. That was so beautiful. You know, the plot twist from the story, the introduction of the story, the fate of the man. And then this man don't go lost for water. Our main character lost for water for 1 week. Comes out with 3 words. After 1 week, it's just 3 words you have in your mouth. And then we transcended to the point where, okay, since they are banished, we don't want to believe what happened for 1 week. Make I go US now, make I go greener pastures. Greener pastures don't go green, no. Grass go dry. He was deported. He can't go back home because he was exiled. So he wanders and finally settles. In settling, or during this period, he meets a seer who gives him a prophecy, meets a shepherd, and then things begin to, make sense, and it's like, oh, thank God, prophecy has been fulfilled. Not knowing that that was not the fulfillment of purpose itself. So after reading a couple of books, he was able to have a mind shift, which helped him help people, which also opened doors for him. And he thought that was it. His master died. By right, he's supposed to take over. But he refused. No big deal. And one would think that, okay, he should have. But have you thought of following this story, like, if he had taken that role, would he use the key?
And he wouldn't have seen this one that was hanging.
Maybe you would have later, but would it still make sense then? There is timing. So for everything, there is a season, there is purpose, there is a reason why everything is happening. But sometimes I try not to believe that there is something called fate. Sometimes I try not to believe that everything, like now, refusing to come with a pen would have had its consequences. Maybe I would have inconvenienced someone else to get a pen. And because I'm inconvenienced, oh sorry, you brought a pen, the person would have done something that would change the person's life. You get where I'm coming from. I try to make sense. So sometimes I try not to believe these things exist, but trust me, they exist. There's something called fate, and it's what happens as a result of your decisions. fate is not what they wrote and kept. When I was told that there is something that destinies can change, I think it was when I was sitting under one of Mr. Paul Ruda's teachings. He mentioned that forget that, okay, you are destined to, it can change at any point in time. You're destined to be a great man. One mistake, you don't everything in the world. And don't be the first to believe in African magic that you will rise up again. If it be the end of you. It happens. That's happened to people. I have seen it happen to people. So, this was the most beautiful story I have heard in a while. Now, what I need is someone that will volunteer and extract the story for us. Who will help us? Who will help us extract and organize the story?
Do you permit more details to be added?
You have your thoughts already. All you need to do is, or should I put, three people should work on it. Like 3 people come together. The lady on the lilac, she wacky. So let's just have someone's name. Okay, yeah, Christy, we'll have Christy, we'll have Wapon, and we'll have Esther Womanet. Then afterwards, the newborn will help us with the reading. Yes, we don't get team now. Book don't set. Book don't set like this. So we'll have Christy, Wapon, and Esther work on extracting the story. And afterwards, the newborn will read the reading, and we should have that by next week. If we post it, don't worry. If we post it, we'll find it. So, please, once again, a round of applause for yourselves. That was a beautiful game. I didn't even know it would come out that. I didn't, trust me. I refused to come with a topic because I didn't want to. Okay, imagine I came with a topic now. I came with a different thing. We have this story. So, we will have our last session for today. Then, followed immediately after will be the questions and answers, the positive declarations, and then we shall call it around. Now, I have been wondering why the thing was just flowing so well. The thing, like I like what she did there. She ended the story, and just when the story ended, something else. Shababa. It was so beautiful. Thank you to everyone that participated, everyone that whispered something in the air, that helped me making the story into one. Thank you so much. So at this juncture, ladies and gentlemen, I want to make welcome one of the participants in that game that made the story so beautiful to handle the third session for today. And if you listen to the storyline very well, the way she twisted it, you will know what to expect. So I want to do pass on someone and sit down and start taking notes so that I'll do plot twists like that. And I'm speaking of none other but Miss Christy Obosa. Please. She never, I know you can Thank you very much.
Hello. Okay. Hi guys. Hello everyone. I hope you are not tired. I have to drag one of my friends back now, but when I was not making money, I was like, I do read. I read a lot. When I was in secondary school, I was always described as the girl that always has the book on her. I don't want to go into details as to how I always have that book on me. I do things to get books. Things I'm not really, inclined to share because I might run for office soon. So I don't want anything to stain my reputation. But I love to read. I used to read magazines, I used to read newspapers, I used to follow my dad too. You know those, before social media, there was always like this newspaper stands where people would gather and stuff. So I used to follow my dad there. Well, my dad used to take me there. And while he's reading more important things, me, I'll be reading all the fashion and sports. I don't know anything about sports. I was very little, I did not know anything about what they were doing, but I just used to read for entertainment. I used to take books from libraries, and I love to read. I still do. And I think that like half of my, maybe not half, but a major part of my personality was sort of shaped through the books I read. I read a lot. Like, I feel like when you read, right? I don't know. I don't really have a lot of powerful things to say. I just want to first of all give credit to Mr. Paul that he said a lot and his session was amazing. But I just want to, I guess, like let you guys know what reading has done for me and what I hope it does for you and what I hope you will do for others by writing beautiful books and beautiful stories. So, next slide. Mr. Paul spoke about the whole thing. I also had that in my notes. If you want to hide something from an African book, and I remember he was saying, do some introspection and ask yourselves, is it really true? I don't know. Do you guys think it's true? You feel free to talk back at me. Do you think it's true that if you want to hide something from an African, you should?
That is gradually being eroded. It still stands still, but while other people are also trying to make sure that it's not.
Right, because I feel like we are in Africa, we have so many bright minds in our continent. But the problem is the culture, right? I feel like people read, they are readers, we have avid readers. I'm one of them. I'm an avid reader, and there are so many people that love to read, love to tell stories. I mean, we have so many great writers from our continent. Chimamanda is right now one of our high flyers, right? And she's from Nigeria, and she's a reader too, because just like it was said, you cannot be a writer without being a reader. You have to be able to read before you're able to tell stories. And storytelling is very powerful, right? Storytelling is so phenomenal. I just want, like I said, I read a lot. I read a lot of stories. And sometimes I would be reading by 3 a.m. and I'll be crying. And I'll be so ashamed and I'll be hiding my face because if someone comes to ask me, why are you crying now? How do I start to explain to you that this piece that somebody that I've not met before, and I don't know if like sometimes the person is not even alive anymore, it's making me cry because it's just like the power that like book holds, right? Sometimes like you can be reading a book. I remember one book I read by Malcolm Gladwell, I think, if I'm not mistaken, The Outliers anyway, that's the title of the book. I remember reading that book in 2023 and it exposed me to a lot. As a creative, as an artist, sometimes you deal with, what's it called now? Imposter syndrome, right? When you think, what the heck am I doing, right? Why am I not? Maybe you'll be comparing yourself to others. Advent of social media has made it crazy. That's even what made us read that then in my school of 2023. I still remember because I remember very clearly the place I was in my life at that time. And we read the book, The Outliers. And it kind of like comforted me. It really did comfort me because my eyes were open to a lot of things. And I would really, really recommend you guys to read that book, The Outliers, if you've not already read. It would make you to see a lot of things, like a lot of things that sort of affects the journey of destiny, just like in the story that we just crafted. It's not all black and white, right? There are so many factors in your life that will shape that or affect sort of like your path and where you end up or how great great will turn out to be. Of course, that's not to say that if these factors are not in your favor, your life cannot be great. There are so many people that break the rule. There are so many exceptions to the rule. But these outliers are people that they were just like everything in their path were sort of like created or curated to make them succeed. Anyway, that's just like to show you the power of storytelling. Books can comfort you. Books can let you into worlds that you would never dream of going. It would open you up to systems and societies that from the comfort of your home you would never have dreamt of going. It would take you to civilizations just from the comfort of your home. And I used to tell people that I carry a lot of stories in my head. I'm not a writer, I don't know why. But I carry a lot of stories in my head because of the number of books I've read. I can sometimes like something will happen and I'll be like, this is a deja vu. It's not really a deja vu. I read about it. Because most times when you read, you sort of like immerse yourself in the story. That you feel like you've lived this person's life. Sometimes a book can end, I don't know if I'm the only one that does this, but a book can end in such an annoying way that you just be like, sure, that's what you, the author says. And I'm going to close this book, and I'm going to close my eyes and end it the way that I like. Because if I hold on to this ending, I'm going to be very annoyed. I do that a lot. Because some writers will just want to piss you off so bad, like, why did the bad guy succeed at the end? No, I'm going to kill the bad guy off in my head and all of that. So it's just like, storytelling just does that anyway, and it's so powerful, and I feel like if you haven't read and if you've not exposed yourself to these worlds, right, you're missing out. Okay. So we brings me back to the saying, if you want to hide something from an African, hide it from. I just want to say that in order for us to be able to successfully challenge that saying, right, that adage, as Africans and as Nigerians that we are, it's just for us to make reading to be cool again. Because now there's so many things that, okay, right from even when you were in school, the people that love to read, they would give us like some kind of names and some kind of tags that were like, if you are reading, that one likes Bootcamp, or this one, I only book, all those type of things. But like, if you create a society where reading books is cool, reading books is like a new thing. I remember some months ago on social media, I think January, right, when we crossed over into the new year, people were posting the number of books that they read. Yes. Right. I don't know if some of you follow that. People were like, I read 90 books, I read 100 books. And you could see like they were getting a lot of backlash. I don't know if you guys saw that. It was so bizarre to me because I was like, why are they getting backlash for reading so many books? Some people were like, okay, some people were snapping, like taking pictures of the books that they read, and then it would just be like fiction stories, right, in the collection. And they're like, you're reading fiction and you're claiming that you read 100 books. It's fictional books, are they books? Like, I don't understand. Fictional books, are they not books? Do we call them stories? Are they not books? If you say you read 50 fictional, that's like 50 stories that you've immersed yourself in. And some people like to think that maybe it's only from reading non-fiction or from reading, what's it called, these self-help books, that you get fulfillment or that you learn stuff. But the truth is that there's so much to learn from fictional stories, because these writers create these stories, and like sort of like in our book club, during our book review meetings, we would have a book that we've read for that month, right? And then in the book review meeting, there will be so many life lessons and so many like key points to glean from just that one story that you can also apply to your life and better your life. So don't make anybody like shame you for loving to read only fiction. And if you love to read only non-fiction, that's still trying to navigate life. It's not the same setting, right? It's not the same country that book might be written in. But you find that when you get to that stage in your life, and it's like a similar problem, you find that you might be able to apply what that person did in that story to your own life, and it actually works for you, right? So that's just the importance of reading. Nations with strong reading cultures build stronger democracies, healthier economies, and richer histories. If we are a nation that reads, there are so many things that will not have to be seen or reading about, or like having to fly because like we're an enlightened nation. You find that a nation that is not enlightened, it's easier for them to be deceived, right? It's easier for them to overlook certain what's the word? It's easier for them to overlook certain things that are wrong because you're like, for example, you try to challenge the system or you try to challenge the status quo. Someone asks you, okay, what would you do differently? And you're now like, because you're not enlightened. So because of that, you tend to like, let me keep quiet because I don't know if I'm there, that might be what I would do. Or let me keep quiet since I don't know something better to do. Because that's always the easier way to sort of shut somebody up. Okay, what are you going to do differently? Do you have anything, like, do you have a better suggestion? No, that's what I thought, keep quiet. But when you're in a nation, like if you're in a nation that reads, nobody can shut you up. Before they even ask you, do you have any, you're already parroting all the points, like this is that. If you're like well versed in finance and you've read so many finance books, if you're challenging the nation's economy, like it shouldn't be like this. This should not be happening, that should not be happening. And the person asks you, okay, so if you're here, what do you do? That's the opportunity to sell yourself. Do you understand what I mean? Because all that accumulated knowledge, just like Edu was in our fictional book, was reading all those things. When push comes to shove, right, that accumulated knowledge will come to play. If you're a designer like me, or you're an artist like me, or you're a writer, and you've read so many works, like you've read so much, or if you're a poet and you've read so many people's works, so many great people's works, you would, I don't think it's easy to say well, but I think that it would be easier for you to navigate things like writer's blog. Because you would just sort of like be flowing, there are stories in your head, and you have an idea of, okay, this book I'm writing, this is the path I want to go. The thing about it is that there's nothing new under the sun, it's always said, right? That book that you've read, that book that you want to write, I promise you, if you search, people have gone that path before, right? People have walked that, maybe they didn't finish, like Moana, that she was the way, sorry, I watched movies. You know, she was the way, but somebody before her was great, probably even older than her, greater than her, but the person did not finish that path. But when she now used his experience, she was able to reach where that person did not reach. Why? Because like you have to glean knowledge from other people. That's why it's important to read about great people. There was a period in my life I was reading biographies. I wanted to learn about all the great people. And funny enough, it was because of that I started my book club. When I started reading about my ancestors, I was like, wow, phenomenal woman. So the thing about it is that even if you're a writer and you want to write, you might think, yes, your book is special. Your story is special. It's unique to you. It's your story. There's a reason it was put inside your head, right? There's a reason it was dropped in your heart to tell. That story is yours. But I promise you that if you read, you will see at least several iterations of that your story that will guide you, right, in your path and in your, oh, how do I develop this character? Oh, this character is so unique, right? There's no other character like this character. I promise you, if you search, you will find that character. You might not even find that character in books, you might find that character in real life. But somebody has written about that kind of person that you are writing about. There's sometimes I read a book and I'm like, this person is reminding me of that other person that I have still not forgiven in that other story, and now it's coming here to annoy me again. Do you understand? So every book is unique, but there's always like a sort of like repeated feeling like I get this vibe. So that's just one of the things that reading does for us, right? When you don't read, you give up your chance to join in a global conversation, just like I said. You can be easily shut out because what do you know, right? We let our stories to be told for us, and people don't often tell it well. I know there's always a lot of outrage when, what was this book, Children of Blood and Gold, did you guys hear of it? There's a movie adaptation that was supposed to happen, and the book was set in, sort of like in Lagos, Nigeria, but I don't know if it was, I've not read it yet, I don't know if it was set in Lagos, Nigeria, but I know that there are like Yoruba characters in the book. And when the movie adaptation was announced, obviously there was like an audition call, audition and all of that. That happened, we didn't know when it happened, but it happened. And they now announced the characters that are to feature in the movie. Nigerians were upset. Why are we not there? Why? This is like sort of our story. We're using like the Yoruba, and why are they not Nigerians telling the story for us? These Children of Blood and Bone is a recent one, but there have been so many others in the past where foreigners are telling like our own stories. They are even using like our own authors' books, and they're acting it. Why? Because we're not dominating that space. If you're not there, someone will do it for you. My mom used to say, if I tell you to do something and you don't do it, there are so many other people that can do it. And they also used to say, there's this, I don't know where I've heard it from before, but there's this saying that if you get an idea and you don't implement it fast, someone will steal it. So you see like there's this sitcom I watch, Friends, and this guy will be like, something will be trending on TV, and he will be telling his friend, you know I thought of that thing. And they'll be like, oh, shut up, why are you not the one on the TV? And they're like, no, I thought of it, but the thing is that when you don't act on it, someone will take it. Ideas are like, I think they just float around. And then like, if you don't grab it fast, that's why when I get an idea, ever since I heard that thing, I'm like, I lock it in my brain, nobody's taking it from me, because somehow like if you're not fast, somebody's going to take it from you. And then you've lost out. And so when it happens like that we have these great stories, and we have like Nigeria as a country, we have so many ethnic groups, we have so many cultures, like our stories are so peculiar, so unique, and so vast, but nobody is gleaning it, right? There's nobody. When you're watching like Nigerian movies, except the unique ones, which I know that like, shout out to all the great producers out there in Nigeria killing it. The Kemi Adetimas of our time, like they're doing great. But aside from these few ones that are like really sort of harnessing our story and our culture, you find that when you watch a Nigerian movie, so westernized. Like, first of all, they're trying to speak. Like, the foreigners, they're trying to speak like the Americans. Sometimes you can't even, what accent is this one? It's not British, it's not American, it's not Russian. Which accent? Well, it's a combination of all. So it's very interesting because we don't see ourselves as sort of good enough to be projected to the global audience. But then, those guys, they know what is here. I think a few weeks ago, if I'm not mistaken, a few weeks ago, someone posted a picture about a chief in Edo, an ancient chief. Like this picture was taken, like I don't even know how the picture was like developed to look clear enough so that we can see it. But I'm sure this picture was taken like aeons ago, long ago. Edo, the Benin Empire is like a very ancient empire, right? So this person posted a picture of an Edo chief, well, gathered up in all his regalia, the anklets, and there was a wand in his hand. And if you like, the picture was just making rounds on the internet, and then somebody brought a clip from Samurai Jack. My cartoon people in the house. I'm not the only one. Do you guys remember Samurai Jack? That cartoon. Okay, you remember, right? Okay, so it's like a childhood cartoon that we used to watch then. Samurai Jack. You can check it out. Very good. So someone brought out a clip, right, from Samurai Jack, and I kid you not, that particular scene, like the animation head to toe, was that Benin chief.
And who will not be?
Power Rangers is a foreign cartoon. Yeah. So can you like see what's going on? They come here and they see like, wow. Sometimes they don't even want to live there. Like this is crazy. It's like dropping into a landmine, and you're just seeing all this untapped potential and all these untapped stories. And who is going to check you when you see it? The people that only don't even know that it's their story. Because so many people from Edo and Benin, they were like, this is the first time I'm seeing it, and I watched this cartoon and I didn't even know. Like I've seen this clip before and I didn't even know that it was green and it got like, not inspiration. I wanted to like you guys to know that head to toe, like especially the one in his hands. It was 100% duplicated in the cartoon, right? So when we don't tell our stories, when we want to sort of fashion our stories to other people's realities, I used to tell people that if you watch an Indian movie, you can have an idea into like their culture and their lifestyle in India. If you watch a foreign, like American movie and all, even UK movies, right, you can have an insight to them. You don't have to be there. You can have an insight to, oh, this is how they behave, or these are like some of the beliefs they have. When you come and you watch a Nigerian movie, and you know we see some things that are very trifling, like you just try to not get offended, right? First of all, please, how many of my ladies here sleep with makeup and wig on? The minute I get to my house, I wipe it off. But then, like, you see these movies and they try to depict something that is not our reality, right? The way they speak. And then, most times, they try to use, like, the urban. So, who is going to tell the stories of the people? You know, before old Nollywood, and that's why Gen Z's came up and they were going back to like old Nollywood, sort of like have a feel of what like the past was. Because new movies now, everybody wants to look cool, everybody wants to look modernized, everybody wants to look, you know the accent. It's like, sis, we don't speak like that. And if you're doing these movies where we are speaking like this, when these foreigners want to tell stories about the Africans, look at the caricature that they make us stand up. Watch woman. See the way they are. Do we speak like that? I cannot tell you why you are doing that. They make us look like caricatures. Why? Because we don't even represent ourselves enough so that if somebody wants to gain an insight to, okay, how do they speak? They go and they look and then they hear me speaking like, what are you speaking like? Everybody has an accent. You're from somewhere, you have to speak like where you're from. You can't be from somewhere and try to speak like where you're not from. It sounds funny. So, I mean, like, this is kind of like my new obsession, so to speak, because as an artist, I realized that apart from like, we are nowhere in conversation. Like, where are you? If you go online and you try to make art, you want to make art, right? I wanted to do a collection one time about like African culture, you know, our history, our food, friends. We're not online. But it's so befuddling to me that like we are not on the internet. You would see like maybe traditional marriage pictures. And it's very few because even most times you don't even dress in our culture. You want to dress like somebody else, right? And then every other people, every other culture, every other civilization, they're like documenting themselves. And then when the people coming behind come, they can see like what to reference, right? So if you're a creative, you write a book. I know we have many writers. Or you sing a song. Or you create art. And then in your book, you're writing about, okay, sorry, I don't know if maybe not all of us are from Accra, but let me use Accra as a case study. You're from Accra and you create, like you write a story, and you're writing about Lide, or you're writing about Ayo. Who is going to write about Ayo? Do you come after another generation. And they're like, do we not exist? I want to tell you people how important representation is because it's sort of like my new obsession. Even when I create art that looks like me. I don't want to, I cannot create, I don't know anybody outside of myself, right? And the people around me who look a certain way. I cannot start creating art that looks like someone that I have not met before. I don't know their story. I don't know their history. I have not lived a shared experience with them, right? So when I was little, I did not understand the concept of white race and black race. I was always confused. I told you I used to read a lot. I used to consume a lot of publications, journals, all those magazines, fashion magazines. And I would always swipe through and wonder, why does their hair look like that? And why does my own hair look like this? Like, it was as I grew older that I realized that, oh, okay, we are black, we are African, we look different from this other country. But like, it's important as a young girl or as a young boy growing up to see people that look like you in the mainstream, right? I don't know if I'm the only one with this like ideology. I need to watch movies and see someone that looks like me on screen, right? I need to be able to see someone that like I can relate to this person, right? And even though I feel like Woman King was not adequately depicted in some parts, there were some blind spots. But when I watched that movie, I was so happy because yes, like look at a woman like me, a black woman like me being badass, right? And it's so like it opens you up to like possibilities. You're able to dream more as a young kid growing up and seeing yourself being represented on a global stage. And if now, because whether you like it or not, we are when we're little, they used to say we are the futures of tomorrow. Now these are tomorrow. Like we are in our future, right? We are in the tomorrow, and I promise you, if we don't do well, the people coming after us will grab us. The way we are dragging the people that we are coming after. They're going to be like, okay, so what were you guys doing? Like, imagine years from now and someone sits down talking to people, maybe, let me say, I don't know, 20, 30 years from now, someone sits down talking to people and telling people, why our Bible might not be the conversation? What is going on? That would mean that we failed because why did we not push? Do you know, like, have you gone around apart from cities? Like, have you interacted? Like, have you really immersed yourself in like the culture and just like the beauty that is here? Nobody knows about it. Some years ago, there was a video trending. I think during one of the protests in New York, they brought out dancers, African dancers, to dance. And you know the protest I'm talking about, the NSAS protest. So it was, there were videos everywhere, immediately happening, there were videos, making it to the internet. And there was a certain time, I don't remember if it was like the memorial or something, but there was a certain time, there was a certain gathering in New York, they brought dancers, cultural dancers during the protest. And the video went viral on social media, and everybody was just like, this is so beautiful, I've never seen, like, wow, this is, and I'm just like, wow, like, we are really like, sort of overlooked. And if you check it, there are so many of us in the mainstream, but they are not representing us. They are learning how to speak with their dialects. They are learning how to speak other languages so that they can blend in. But like, if we don't dominate and we don't tell our own stories to the global audience, who will tell it for us? So in as much as I'm coming here to encourage you, read, and all of that, expand your mind. Expand your mind in such a way that you feel pressure. I'm sorry to use the word pressure, but I don't know how else to describe it. But you feel like, sort of like an onus on you to make sure that you project like who you are. Whether you're from Akwa, wherever you're from, project who you are like to the world, because just like Mr. Paul said, there are people that are desperate to hear your story. There are people that they just need that validation from you. All you need to do is create that piece that is unique to you, finally I have been seen. I feel seen, I feel heard, right? That's just like, it's the power of storytelling, and as creatives, you have like a very large, heavy burden on your shoulders. You're a storyteller, you have to tell stories. And you cannot only tell stories that are like so distant. You must tell the stories about like where you're from, your experience. Because there are so many people there where we are right now, we are underrepresented. And we have to be represented in the global space. Otherwise, somebody can just come and claim everything that we have, and all we are going to do is cry about it. There's nothing you are going to do. If you did not do it first, somebody's going to come and do it for you and claim it as theirs. And that's how like a civilization, and that's how like a people is sort of like erased from history. And then centuries or aeons from now, when people there, it's like, oh, are you serious? Some people existed. Interesting. You didn't document your life. You didn't document your story. You didn't document the stories of your people. And here we are, right? So that is, like I said, it's my new obsession, but I just want to share with you guys. Push yourself as a creative, as a writer, push yourself into the global conversation and just take over the space, right? There is so much space, and it's just waiting for you to fill it. So there's so many crises that we face as a society, devoid of readers. The chances of your friends choosing to hang out and read a book is slimmer than them choosing to watch a movie. If you want to organize a friendship hangout and say, oh, let's do like a book reading, everybody's going to consider it. Huh? What are you talking about? Let's not watch this movie, Jared. Who is reading book with you? And if you like, sometimes like some of my friends, like, you don't have anything better to do with your life, you're always reading. You don't go find money. You know all those type of things. We need to create a society where reading is like, yeah, it's new cool, it's a culture, and people are like, oh yeah, let's go to the bookstore and get books, or let's go to the library and hang out, right? They are just the same thing. Bookshops are not trendy. Cinemas are always good. I mean, I really love what Commander did with this and making a whole press run about it. Just like the movie, because the movie will come out and you see like press runs and all of that, like there's so much hype. But a book will come out and sometimes like, I feel like if Chimamanda was not Chimamanda, it wouldn't have been as successful, because everyone would be like, oh please, like fair enough, can you rest? Who's the way to do it? Children can recite the entire song lyrics. And I promise you, if you check some of those things, you can't read. There's music everywhere, but like, where are those? Most times, parents would say, go to school, read your books, and do what? Pass your exams. So when you finish reading and passing your exams, what next? Then when we were in school, after exams is over, we will be saying things like, if I won't see billboard, I know we'll read that. If I won't see enemy fly, I'm not reading anything again. After these exams, I'm shutting my brain off. Because we sort of like, we're a society where it's like imbibed. Just read, pass, come out, be a doctor, be an engineer, and you know the world is a better place. You don't need, that's like the bare minimum, that's all you need to do. It's a few homes where parents are like, what are you playing? Go inside and read. Oh, I'm on holiday, go and read something else. Do you understand? Some families, like some people, I think most people that grow up being like avid readers were exposed to a lot of books. I know that there's